Everyone in the room was shocked. Jason waved his right hand and instantly put all the materials on the table into the space ring. Everyone turned their attention to Tyson. The king's family was an inconspicuous family in the territory of chaos. No one should peep into the mansion where it was located. So there was only one possibility. Tyson was getting materials from the trading center in the afternoon. At that time I was being followed. It's impossible. When I came out of the trading center, there were a few eyes paying attention to me at first, but I had already shaken them all away. Tyson's face was also extremely confused. Quite confident. Although some families will set up some secret sentries in the city of chaos to keep an eye on people, the strength of these secret sentries is generally not too strong. At most, they are only 5th level sect spiritual masters, and there will be no stronger ones. No family would send a 6th level spiritual master to serve as a secret sentinel. 6th level spiritual masters are all master level figures in the territory of chaos. If placed in a medium-sized family, they would all be the strongest and the backbone of the family. No spiritual master would be so humble as to be willing to do the job of stalking. Therefore, Tyson was very confident that he could get rid of those secret whistles, but now that someone had sneaked in, it showed that he did not seem to get rid of everyone during the day. Is it because the master's heavenly spirit potion is too shocking that some big families send experts to the trading center? Tyson was suddenly shocked. Being able to avoid the perception of him, a 6th level low-level spiritual master, and follow him to the king's family mansion silently without letting him notice. The opponent's strength is definitely higher than him, and he can dispatch such a strong person. Among the families being followed, in addition to the 3 major families in the entire Chaos territory, only the Bayuan family and several other super families with 7th level Imperial spiritual masters at their command had this strength. If it were them, Tyson's heart couldn't help but tremble at the thought of being targeted by such a huge force in the Baihara family. How many opponents are there? Seeing Tyson's expression changing, Jason stopped thinking about it so much. Since the opponent was already here, he just had to deal with it. Juan Renault grinned, the corners of his mouth slightly curved, and his cold eyes revealed a strong murderous intention. The backyard of the king's family mansion. A figure jumped lightly, and the whole person suddenly flew up and came to the backyard. There was not a trace of spiritual power fluctuations in the whole process. It actually used physical strength to jump over the high wall several meters high, so the strength can only be achieved by at least a 6th level spiritual master. One-armed master? TSK, the figure hummed softly, with a hint of disdain between his eyebrows. Christo has no idea what kind of master this little Kongsi family can recruit. This is an old man who is over 50 years old. His face is covered with wrinkles like the cracked earth. His triangular eyes are shining brightly. You can tell he is a master at a glance. The old man is Fuelenton, the 3rd elder of the Perret family. He is one of the 2 elders of the Perret family, one of the 3 major families in the territory of chaos, stationed in the city of chaos. His strength has reached the level of a 6th level senior spiritual master. A few days ago, in the afternoon, Christo, a foreign kid recruited by his family from outside, found him and told Fuelenton that his family was wiped out by the Kongsi family in the same city. Both the patriarch and his father were killed by a one-armed man from the other party. To kill, the opponent is most likely a 6th level senior spiritual master. If Fuelenton can avenge Crystal, Crystal will join Fuelenton's camp from now on, and Fuelenton will follow suit. In a super-large family like the Perret family, there are also several camps. Although everyone is striving for the common interests of the family, there is also competition between each other. Christo became a 4-year-old at the age of 29. A high-level elixir master with such a talent is extremely rare in the entire Chaos territory. He is at least ranked among the top 3 among the younger generation. Therefore, each camp is interested in wooing him, and Fuelenton is naturally moved. Although Christo said that the other party's strength was extraordinary, Fuelenton, as the 3rd elder of the Per family, one of the 3 major families in the territory of chaos, and whose strength had reached the 6th level of senior spiritual master, did not treat Christo. Keep the words in your heart. What was the Dax family before the Kantz family and Christo? It's just a mid-level family in the territory of chaos, and it can't even control a city. The sudden appearance of the Heavenly Spirit Potion a few days ago kept Fuelenton busy searching for clues about the consignor of the Heavenly Spirit Potion. Finally, tonight when he was free, Fuelenton sneaked in secretly, preparing to find out more. Although he was extremely disdainful in his heart, Fuelenton's movements were extremely agile and cautious, without any relaxation. His figure was like a ghost in the dark night, erratic, and quietly sneaked towards the courtyard in the middle of the king's family mansion. Your Excellency is so cheerful. I am visiting you late at night. Why don't I show you my kindness as a landlord? A voice suddenly sounded in Fuelenton's ears. The voice was very low, but in Fuelenton's ears, it was no different than on a sunny day. There was a thunderbolt. Fuelenton was startled and suddenly turned around, only to see a one-armed middle-aged man staring at him coldly. An extremely powerful murderous aura erupted from the one-armed man and quickly enveloped him. His whole body. The thick murderous aura was as heavy as substance, and it was so overwhelming that Fuelenton could hardly breathe. It was also like a blade. It was as if a knife was suddenly placed on Fuelenton's throat, and his body froze. His face suddenly changed color. Master Fuelenton's pupils suddenly shrank, so powerful that he, a 6th-level senior spiritual master, almost felt suffocated. Even with his status, he rarely encountered it. What's even more terrifying is that the opponent had previously, when it appeared behind him, he didn't notice it at all. The powerful spiritual power in Fuelenton's body surged instantly. Before he could make a move, a golden sword rainbow lit up in front of him like a bolt of lightning, and came to his face in an instant. Fuelenton quickly raised his hand to block. Bang! His right hand felt extremely sore and numb under this blow, and the long sword in his hand felt like he couldn't hold it. At the same time, an extremely domineering spiritual power was instantly transmitted to him through the long sword in Fuelenton's hand. Inside his body, rampaging inside his body. A strong smell of blood rushed into his throat, and he swallowed it with all his strength. This Fuelenton's eyes widened, with a look of extreme shock. One move was enough to wound him. The opponent's strength was so terrifying that he was not a 6th-level senior spiritual master. Such a master was hidden in this small Kongsi family mansion. This kid Christo, I have to settle the score with him when I get back. Fuelenton said fiercely in his heart, turned around and shot out of the mansion. You're welcome, Your Excellency. Anyone who comes is a guest. I think you'd better stay. A faint voice sounded behind Fuelenton, and a violent fluctuation of spiritual energy suddenly spread between the sky and the earth. A bright golden sword rainbow shot directly from behind Fuelenton. Not good. Seeing that he couldn't escape, Fuelenton gritted his teeth and had to turn around and wave his sword to block. Boom! Fuelenton could no longer hold the long sword in his hand, and was thrown away by the blow. Blood splattered on his wrist, and at the same time a rain of blood spurted out of his mouth, and his whole body collapsed heavily on the ground. It's over. Fuelenton felt a sense of sadness in his heart. He took a breath in his chest and was about to scream. If there was a big commotion, the power of the Perret family could save him, otherwise however, before he could scream, a sharp sword with golden light had already arrived at his neck. The cold murderous intent grasped him tightly in an instant. Fuelenton's heart suddenly lifted, and countless goosebumps appeared all over his body. Don't make a sound, otherwise. The long sword came slightly closer, and the sharp spiritual sword light instantly cut a layer of skin on his neck, and blood flowed down. Fuelenton's body stiffened suddenly, with fear in his eyes. For fear of alarming the other party, he whispered, "Don't kill me, I am Fuelenton, the 3rd elder of the Perret family." The Perret family? This Tyson, who had just walked out of the yard, trembled with fright when he heard these words. But Jason was keenly aware that when Gandalf heard about the Perret family, the muscles on his face twitched, and a trace of hatred flashed in his eyes. Oh, it turns out that the third elder of the Per family is here. I wonder why the third elder came to my Kongsi family's residence. Jason stepped forward and said with a smile. This Fulenton was stunned when he saw a young man stepping forward to ask. Generally speaking, the person with the highest status would ask questions on such occasions, but what happened to this young man? Haha, I just broke into your residence accidentally. I didn't mean anything malicious. Although Fulenton was confused, his mind was constantly running, thinking about what to say. Master, the Perret family definitely knows about the potion. We can't stay in this chaotic city any longer and must leave as soon as possible. Tyson spoke next to Jason with an anxious look on his face. No wonder he was so anxious. As one of the three major families in the territory of chaos, and the head of the three major families, the Per family's terrifying strength has long been deeply imprinted in the minds of everyone in the territory of chaos. Although the Master is also extremely powerful and seems to have reached the level of the Imperial Spiritual Master, it is said that these three major families all have 7th-level intermediate Imperial Spiritual Masters. Otherwise, there would not be only three major families in the territory of chaos. After all, like the Baiyuan family among the remaining top powers, there are also 7th-level low-level Imperial Spiritual Masters, but they cannot compare with the three major families in terms of reputation or strength. Now only the third elder of the Perret family is here. If the top powerhouses of the Perret family are provoked, even though the Master is the son of a super powerful force in the mainland, in this chaotic territory, there is absolutely no way to escape the pursuit of the Perret family. Of potion? Fulenton, who was on the ground, was stunned. Potion, could it be? There was no expression on Fulenton's face, but there was a turmoil in his heart. During these days, as one of the two elders of the Per family stationed in the City of Chaos, he has been busy searching for the consignor of the Heavenly Spirit potion that suddenly appeared in the trading center, but he still didn't have the slightest clue, but he didn't expect that this time when he inquired on behalf of Christo, he would find some clues. Fulenton was extremely excited, but he didn't dare to show it at all on his face, for fear of arousing the other party's suspicion. Fulenton thought he had hidden his excitement very well, but who was Jason? The founder of Technique Flow Spiritual Medicine. What Technique Flow valued most was paying attention to the subtle changes in the reaction of the spirit potion. Fulenton's subtle physical manifestations were all caught in Jason's eyes. Jason couldn't help but feel speechless. From Fulenton's reaction after hearing Tyson's words, Jason could clearly tell that Fulenton didn't know about the Tianling potion before, but Tyson's words, the information is directly exposed to the other party. But it was the same for Jason whether he was exposed or not. Since our third elder is unwilling to tell the truth, there is no need to waste time and send him on his way directly. Jason made a gesture to Renaud. Renaud understood, and the long sword in his hand was slowly sent forward. Fulenton was startled and said quickly, "Please slow down." Renaud stopped what he was doing and stared at him, making him feel like he was being stared at by a lone wolf that had been hungry for countless days, ferocious and violent. "Actually, I'm here to inquire about your Excellency's mansion on behalf of Christo from my family." Seeing Jason's unkind look, Fulenton poured out the words like he was pouring beans. "Crystal, it turns out it's that guy." Tyson gritted his teeth and said harshly. "Everyone, the Perret family has no intention of becoming enemies with you. If you can let me go, you will be my friends of the Perret family. As for the matter of Christo, if I read it correctly, Your Excellency, he should be a 7th-level low-level Imperial Spiritual Master. Our Perret family is not stupid enough to make an enemy of a 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master because of a foreigner. But if these guys kill me, I dare you. I guarantee that you guys won't be able to get out of this chaotic city at all. This is completely unnecessary. I wonder what you guys think." Fulenton showed great sincerity and looked at Jason calmly. This Jason looked hesitant and said, "If the third elder can hand over Christos to the lower class, it is not impossible to discuss." Fulenton hesitated for 2 seconds, pretending to struggle. Then he gritted his teeth and said, well, Christo is also to blame. This is a matter of competition between two families for the city. According to the rules of the territory of chaos, our pair family should not get involved. Fuelenton pretended to be righteous, but he couldn't help but sneer secretly in his heart. A group of guys actually listened to a young man. Let me go, you will look good later. Thank you, third elder. Jason, a smile appeared on his face, and he said to Renaud, let him go. Fuelenton suddenly felt happy. Pfft. Before he could say thanks, Renaud's sword glowed softly, and it had already cut Fuelenton's throat. Fuelenton's eyes widened with a look of disbelief. A line of blood appeared on his neck. After a while, the blood foam spurted out like a fountain. He never thought that from the beginning, Jason had not decided to let him go. Christo, Jason frowned, and a glint flashed in his eyes. Keeping such a person around is always a threat, and from what Fuelenton said earlier, Jason could tell that only Christo and the entire Per family would guess that Fuelenton had inquired about the news here today. Jason's eyes fell on Renaud beside him. Renaud nodded slightly to him. You two clean up this place, don't let others see any clues, let's go out. Jason ordered Tyson and Gandalf, then looked at Gandalf deeply, turned around and met Renaud walking towards the back door of the mansion. Master, where are you going? Tyson said hurriedly, suddenly feeling a bad feeling in his heart. What else can I do? Of course I'm going to kill that Christo. Jason said indifferently. The guess in his heart came true. Tyson was shocked and said hurriedly, no, Master, the Perret family is one of the three major families in the territory of chaos. In charge of this city of chaos, there is a low-level imperial spiritual master in charge. If you two go, no need to say anything else. Jason waved his hand. Seeing Jason's resolute look, Tyson gritted his teeth and said, how about this, I'll go, Master Jace, you don't have to go. Tyson knew Jace's strength. A fourth-level low-level genius. Once the spiritual master is discovered by the Per family, it will definitely be a dead end. Although he is not much better, as a sixth-level low-level spiritual master, he can at least be of some use, and even if he dies, there is as long as the master is here, the Kongsi family will continue to prosper, and if something happens to the master, then this is an order. Jason stared coldly at Tyson's face, and Tyson suddenly didn't dare to speak out. Taking advantage of the darkness, the two quietly left the Khan's family mansion and headed straight towards the Perret family mansion. This was a secret operation, carried out by Jason and Renaud. Jason did not do it on a whim. The spiritual god technique he practiced was extremely special. As long as it did not burst out, most people would not notice it at all. Even in battle, the spiritual consciousness and spirit, the concealment of power, is also extremely strong. More importantly, Jason has flying skills, and Renaud is a 7th-level imperial spiritual master. Even if he cannot be defeated, escaping will not be a problem. If Tyson is allowed to go, as soon as he is discovered, Tyson will not be able to escape at all. Possibility of escape. Jason used the thunder wings, restrained the light, stayed close to the ground, and flew at an ultra-low altitude. Renaud followed closely behind Jason, with a calm expression and no sign of any effort. Two figures quickly arrived at the side of the Per family mansion. At this moment, Jason had restrained the lightning wings behind him. The perception of the 7th-level imperial spiritual master was extremely sharp, and any slight fluctuation in spiritual power could alarm the other party. The Perret family's mansion is very large, a small complex of buildings, many times larger than the Khan's family's mansion. Sen and Renaud did not use their senses and used physical strength to climb over a nearly 10-meter-high wall. Such a high wall was naturally easy for a pervert like Jason. Although Renaud broke his arm, the body of the 7th-level low-level Emperor spiritual master also allowed him to easily turn over. The entire mansion was quiet, with only the dim light from the lanterns hanging everywhere. Jason and Renaud used the shadow cover of the building to quietly move towards the side of the building. The two seemed to be very familiar with the terrain here, and went all the way inward without too much hesitation or pause. In fact, as early as a few days ago, Jason and Renaud had a clear understanding of the entire layout of this chaotic city. They had a clear understanding of the chaotic city, such as the Perret family, the Bella family, the Curie family, and the Kitahara family. Jason and Renaud had carefully studied some of the big family mansions in the city. After all, the second plan in Jason's mind was to seize it by force if he found out which family owned the Cloud Mist spirit fruit in their mansion in the City of Chaos. Therefore, he wanted to know about each family's mansion early. He didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Came in handy. Foreign children like Christo usually live in side courtyards on both sides. The higher the status, the more luxurious the place they live, and the closer they are to the main courtyard of the mansion. According to Fulenton's previous words, it can be heard that Christo's status in the Perret family is quite good, so the search of the two is very purposeful. It's just that the Per family's mansion is too big, and occasionally there are groups of guards with sharp blades passing by. Jason and Renaud don't know Christo. If they continue to search like this, they may not be able to find it until dawn. When they arrived, they set their sights on the guards at the gate of the courtyard. In a large family like the Perret family, each member's yard will be independent when they become adults. There will be 2 guards on duty at the entrance of each yard, and teams of patrol guards will patrol back and forth between the yards, and will not enter every courtyard. The guards in the Perret family's mansion were not tight. Perhaps they never thought that someone would attack their dignified Perret family at night. Deep in the Perret family mansion, 2 figures were walking towards the entrance of a certain courtyard in the dark night. The conversation between the 2 guards at the entrance of the courtyard gradually became clearer in their ears. I'm talking about Fat Brother. There seem to be more guards in the family than usual recently. I heard that the Patriarch and the First Elder will come to the City of Chaos in person in a few days. Is there any big move in the family? The thin guard asked. The guard next to him made a bored sound. Humph, you kid is looking for death. Things within the family are not something you can discuss casually. The fat guard snorted coldly. Fat brother, aren't I curious? I have been in the family for 5 years, and this is the first time I have seen this. Humph, 5 years is too few years. If you have stayed in the family for 8 years, you know what's going on. 8 years, what do you mean? Fat brother, you are well informed, do you know anything? There was a hint of excitement on the thin man's face. Fat brother, tell me. Humph, I told you not to spread the word, otherwise our heads will be in danger. The fat guard's face was surprisingly serious. So serious? Instead of being afraid, the thin man's face became even more excited. I heard this from my cousin, who is a guard. The fat guard said cautiously, you know this cloud swamp, it is shrouded in fog all year round. The outside of the swamp is fine, but the fog inside the swamp is so deep that it is basically I'm confused, but I heard that there is a mysterious treasure inside this swamp. Mysterious treasure? Are you kidding me? The thin guard had a trace of disbelief on his face. I know you don't believe it. The fat guard said with a hint of mystery on his face, have you heard of the Desert Fox Adventure Group? Desert Fox Adventure Group? The thin guard thought for a moment and said, isn't that the one? Is it the adventure group that was said to have obtained the cloud spirit fruit from the depths of the cloud swamp 8 years ago, and then disappeared mysteriously? Jason and Renaud, who were about to take action, heard this, their hearts moved, and they stopped again. It's this adventure group. The fat man guard nodded and said, it was because the Desert Fox Adventure Group entered the treasure deep in the cloud swamp that the entire army was destroyed. In the end, only the leader Rommel and a few people escaped. So that's it. Could it be that all the treasures have been obtained by the Desert Fox Adventure Group? Get the treasures? The fat guard sneered, about this maze of death, several top leaders in the entire Chaos territory, almost all the forces know about it. It is said to have existed for at least thousands of years. When the palace was first discovered, this treasure was called the Cloud and Mist Palace. The outermost circle is like a maze. It is extremely difficult to find the entrance, and it is dangerous. Abnormally, for countless years, few people have been able to actually find the entrance to the palace, and some have been extremely lucky. No one who has entered it has ever come out alive, so it later became known as the Maze of Death. But back then the Desert Fox Adventure Group seemed to have entered the palace, but the entire army was not wiped out. In the end, a few people escaped and obtained the Cloud Spirit Fruit in the palace. It is a pity that the Desert Fox Adventure Group returned to the chaos. The city soon disappeared without a trace. But I estimate that the Desert Fox Adventure Group did not enter the depths of the palace. Although the Desert Fox Adventure Group had a great reputation in the territory of chaos, its leader Rommel was only one. He is only a 6th-level senior spiritual master. For countless years, various major families have entered the Death Maze to explore many 7th-level Imperial spiritual masters. I have never heard of anyone entering the depths of the palace. This Desert Fox Adventure Group has "How can you enter?" The skinny guard had a look of yearning on his face. After a moment, he said doubtfully, "But Fatty, what do you mean by these 8 years? You are stupid, but you are really stupid." The fat man had a look of hatred on his face, but there was a hint of superior pride in his eyes. The cloud swamp is shrouded in clouds all year round, and the clouds in the depths even contain highly toxic substances. A 7th-level Imperial spiritual master would have a narrow escape if he entered. However, the clouds and mist in this cloudy swamp will fade for a month every 8 years in September. As long as a 4th-level heavenly spiritual master or above enters, he will be fine. In a few days, it will be September. It's estimated that the top families in the territory of chaos will organize another round of exploration, the Maze of Death. Jason couldn't help but feel a secret in his heart. It turns out that there is such a secret deep in the cloud swamp. Gandalf, it is true that an adventure group obtained the Cloud Spirit Fruit from the depths of the cloud swamp 8 years ago. If this is the case, if you cannot find the Cloud Spirit Fruit in this chaotic city, it is better to enter the Death Maze. Look. Jason made up his mind. At this time, the guard at the gate of the yard had already turned the topic to women. Jason and Renaud looked at each other and nodded slightly. In the dark night, 2 black figures were seen on the left and right. The 2 guards who were talking to each other at the door. Click, a soft sound sounded at the door of the courtyard, and a small hand quickly wrapped around the neck of the thin guard. With a slight twist, the thin guard had suddenly entered the arms of death. What? The fat guard was shocked. Just as he was about to shout, a long sword that glowed coldly under the moonlight was already placed on his neck. The cold sword edge rested lightly on the fat man's neck. On the August day, the fat man felt as if he had suddenly fallen into an ice cave, and the hair on his body stood upright. Which is Christo's yard? A cold voice sounded from behind the guard, like a call from the 9 nether hells. Just this is it. The fat man's eyes widened with fear, and he spoke slightly with great fear, fearing to offend the person behind him. People, this guard is a direct guard of the Perret family and is loyal to the Perret family. If Jason and the others were looking for a direct young master of the Perret family, this guard would not tell Jason and the others even if they risked their lives. But this Christo is just a foreigner of the family. The disciple, the guard who cherished his own life, said directly, "Is this it?" Jason couldn't help but was stunned. He didn't expect such a coincidence. The first yard he looked for found Christo's head directly. "It seems that God is helping me today." "Very good." The cold voice behind him sounded again. The long sword in his hand shook slightly. The sharp blade had already cut a long gash in the guard's throat, and the hot air was thick. The blood suddenly splashed out from the guard's neck like a fountain. The guard's eyes widened and he made a sound in his mouth. His eyes quickly dimmed and he lost consciousness. Renaud put away his sword and joined Jason and the others. Stepping into the courtyard, he quickly rushed towards the main room at the back of the courtyard. A faint fragrant smell suddenly entered the noses of Jason and Renaud. "No, this is a spirit-inducing potion." Jason's face changed. But a wave of spiritual power suddenly came from Renault on the side. The spirit-inducing potion is a third-level spiritual potion. It has no lethality, but it can induce the flow of spiritual power in the body of the spiritual master. This kind of spiritual potions are generally used to prevent sneak attacks by spiritual masters who hide their spiritual power. If there is no preparation in advance, even the 7th level Imperial Spiritual Master will be caught off guard and will be affected. Jason was a 9th level Spiritual Medicine Master in his previous life. Most of the harmful spirit potions have a certain degree of resistance. Even if he didn't pay attention for a moment, the spirit-inducing potion would have no effect on him. However, because Renault didn't pay attention for a moment, the spiritual power in his body fluctuated instantly. Unexpectedly, there was actually a spirit-inducing Sudson filled outside the room of the members of the Perret family mansion. Jason was shocked, and he looked at each other with Renault, and their eyes instantly communicated. Renault quickly took out a bottle of red elixir from his body, drank it in one gulp, and then his whole body soared into the sky like a rocket. Fiery red light burst out from his body, appearing in the dark night sky. Incomparably dazzling, who dares to spy on our Perret family? A loud roar suddenly burst out from the luxurious courtyard in the middle of the Perret family. At the same time, a cyan figure emerged from the courtyard like lightning. Electricity shot out, "Get out of here!" In the sky, an old voice shouted from the mouth of the fiery red figure, resounding throughout the world. The long sword in his hand slashed, and a sword light, condensed by flames, instantly scratched the space. A short distance away, he came to the front of the cyan figure. "Huh!" The cyan figure snorted coldly. As he waved his hand, the flaming sword light instantly collapsed and exploded. However, in this short moment, the red figure had turned into a fiery red meteor, the Perret family, but that's it, see you later. Long's voice came from the sky, unscrupulous and extremely public, want to leave? The blue figure on the green figure came from the sky. The light flowed, and instantly turned into a blue wind, rushing towards the fiery red figure in the distance. What's going on? What's going on? Such a huge sound immediately alarmed the Perret family. Everyone, the lights in all the courtyards all lit up one after another, and individual figures shot out from their respective courtyards. The crowd was loud. This was just because for decades, the Perret family mansion had never encountered anyone. In this situation, there was a sudden commotion. Christo, who was resting in the room, was awakened by the moment when Renault's spiritual power was in full swing. In fact, the spirit-inducing potion was not given to Christo by the Per family. It was arranged, but Christo prepared it himself and released it outside the house. As one of the 3 major families in the territory of chaos, no one has dared to mess with the Per family for many years. Some rules have long been abolished over the years, and the defense is extremely lax. Christo, who comes from the Dax family, used to be in Santa Fe City. When he was young, he was very vigilant. After coming to the Perret family, this good habit was still retained by him. This is the 7th level fire-type Imperial Spiritual Master? How did you come to my yard? Christo walked out of the house. Between his nose, he happened to see 2 meteors, one red and one green, chasing towards the sky. He couldn't help but be shocked. Boom! Before he could recover from the shock, a fiery red sword light suddenly shot from the side. Coming out, aiming at his ferocious attack, Christo was extremely horrified, but his expression showed no panic. The 4th level advanced spiritual power that he had been prepared for in his body instantly spit out, and the long sword in his hand flashed with light, fiercely facing the attack. Seeing the fiery red sword light in front of him and the spiritual power fluctuations coming from the opponent's giant sword, Christo could feel that the opponent's spiritual power level was not higher than his own, not to mention that it didn't matter even if it was higher than his own, as long as after resisting this blow, the rest of the Perret family was alarmed. There was absolutely no way this guy could escape. Seeing Christo's resistance, Jason's lips curved into a sneer, a strange light flashed in his eyes, and a powerful the soul fluctuations instantly disappeared into Christo's mind. Under Christo's dull eyes, the giant sword in Jason's hand struck Christo's body heavily, and at the same time, a fiery red light quickly disappeared into Christo's mind. Boom! In Christo's body, Christo's whole body exploded suddenly, and flames burned all over his body. However, he made no sound. When the fiery red light penetrated his body, it killed him. All the internal organs in the body were instantly stirred to pieces. Who is it? Feeling the huge spiritual power fluctuations coming from Christo's yard, there were several loud shouts in the distance, and at the same time, several powerful figures quickly rushed towards Christo's yard. The strong spiritual power fluctuations they emitted showed that they were all 6th-level spiritual masters. In their eyes, a black figure soared into the sky from Christo's yard. This scene shocked several of them. All the powerful spiritual masters stopped instantly. Another 7th-level imperial spiritual master. Could it be that the Bella family and the Curie family have joined forces to deal with our Perret family? The faces of several spiritual masters were extremely horrified. There was a trace of fear in his eyes, and he no longer dared to take a step forward. Under the cover of the night, in the panic, these spiritual masters did not notice that the black figure was flying, and there were occasionally some secrets behind him. The lightning flashed away, and they were all stunned by the shocking thought they had earlier. Christo was killed. In Christo's yard, the guards screamed. Voice, the huge explosion in the Pear family mansion, as well as the angry shouts of Renaud and the cyan figure, were heard far away in the chaotic city in the silent night. If you have the guts, fight me, Nixon. In the sky, the second elder of the Perret family, Nixon, tried his best. The spiritual power of the wind system in his body was operating to the extreme, and his speed had reached the highest level. However, he could never catch up. Go up to the fiery red figure in the distance. Haha, you are a majestic wind spiritual master who can't catch up with me. He actually has the nerve to say that he wants to fight me. Junior, I won't bully you. If you have the ability, catch up with me first. Let's talk. The old voice rumbled across the world, full of contempt and disdain. Nixon was so angry that he almost vomited blood. As the fastest spiritual master among the spiritual masters, the wind spiritual master could not catch up with a fire spiritual master. This really made Nixon extremely angry. It would have been better if the other party was obviously stronger than himself, but in Nixon's perception, the spiritual power fluctuations emanating from the person in front were similar to his own, but no matter how he chased him, but the distance from the figure in front was getting farther and farther as the two chased each other. Among several luxurious mansions in the other direction near the trading center of Chaos City, several figures opened their eyes at the same time. With a trace of surprise, Feng suddenly rose into the sky. Is this Nixon? What's going on? An old man in white robe looked at the two figures passing quickly in the sky, and said in surprise, his face full of surprise. Horrified, who is the Fire Emperor Spirit Master in front of him? Can't even catch up with Nixon's speed? The other figures were also floating in the sky above their own family mansions, watching the two chasing each other. Lu Guang had a hint of horror on his face, but he just stared from a distance and did not follow him. In fact, these few people are just 7th-level low-level imperial spiritual masters like Nixon. In terms of strength, they have never fought in life and death battles, so it is difficult to say. However, in terms of strength, Nixon, who is a wind spiritual master, is definitely better than them. One step ahead, but the fiery red figure made them all feel a little wary in the Kang's family mansion, listening to the roaring sound coming from the distance. Tyson and Gandalf people also looked up at the sky, extremely worried. What happened? The master was exposed. What should I do now? Tyson's heart was spinning anxiously, and Gandalf also had a trace of anxiety on his face. As the third leader of Chaos, the Perret family, one of the big families, it has ruled the territory of Chaos for thousands of years. Its reputation has been deeply engraved in the hearts of everyone in the territory of Chaos, enough to make Tyson and others change their expressions upon hearing it. At this moment, one red and one green, two figures quickly flew over their heads. When they saw the two figures, Tyson and Gandalf, who were originally anxious, were stunned. The cyan figure behind them understood that it should be from the Perret family. The second elder, Nixon, a 7th-level low-level Imperial spiritual master, but who was the fiery red figure in front of him? Although Renaud did not tell Tyson and the others about his level, Tyson and Gandalf both guessed that Renaud should be a 7th-level low-level Imperial spiritual master, but Master Lay shouldn't be a famous gold master. A spiritual master? Why is it that a fire spiritual master is flying across the sky? Tyson's mind was confused. Who is it? Because Sereno and Jason were discovered, Tyson thought he had been exposed here. The faces of Gandalf couldn't help but change color. They suddenly pulled out the weapons in their hands and shouted softly. When they saw the person coming, they both let out a long breath. The person coming was none other than Song Pei. Jason, who escaped from the Lay family safely. Master, where is Master Lay? Master Jace, where is Senior Lay? When they were in Santa Fe City, because Tyson and the others misunderstood that Jason was the son of a big family in mainland China, and Renaud was his bodyguard, after Jason and Renaud discussed it, they decided to when they rushed from Santa Fe City to the City of Chaos, they introduced Tyson and the others. Renaud just told them that Renaud changed his name to Lay and his identity was the bodyguard Jason brought from his family. He? Previously, the one who flew over is, okay, it's already so late, everyone should go back to bed. Jason said casually, but there was no worry on his face. This Tyson and Gandalf were both dumbfounded. What's going on? Master Lay is being chased by Nixon, the second elder of the Per family, but Master Jesse is not worried at all. Don't worry, it's okay. Jason waved his hand and walked into the house with his father and the others. After practicing so hard in the past month, coupled with the experience of fighting in the Northwest countries, his strength has improved a lot compared to the beginning. In addition, he has some elixirs that he personally prepared. In Jason's heart, he wanted to run away from Renaud. What about Nixon's pursuit? But they were not worried at all. Tyson and Gandalf looked at each other, smiled bitterly, and had no choice but to shake their heads. Although they were worried, they both returned to their rooms. Jason replied. After arriving in the room, he was practicing cross-legged there. After an unknown amount of time, a figure suddenly appeared in Jason's room. Father, are you okay? Feeling the familiar aura of the other party, Jason suddenly, he opened his eyes with a trace of concern on his face. Although Jason had great confidence in his father and showed no worries in front of Tyson and Gandalf, in fact, in the deepest part of Jason's heart, he didn't see before Renaud came back, there was still a trace of deep concern and worry in his heart. Now, the big rock was finally put down. Of course I'm fine, how are you? Renaud looked at Jason with concern. After his spiritual sense sensed that he was unharmed, he felt relieved. Then Christo has been dead. Jason said, that's good. Only when facing Jason alone, Renaud would show that kind smile on his face, and said with a smile, I took that Nixon with me in the City of Chaos. There was a big circle outside, and that guy probably didn't even see my figure clearly, and he was so angry, haha. Before going to the Perret family, Jason had discussed it with Renaud, because Renaud's one-armed and golden the spiritual power is too eye-catching. If the opponent discovers it, with the power of the Perret family, as long as they conduct a citywide search and focus on all the one-armed gold spiritual masters, Renaud will have nothing to hide. Therefore, Renaud is after being discovered, the bottle of spiritual potion he took was the fire-type spirit-changing potion prepared by Jason before. Mobile phone compilation ** The spirit-turning potion is only a 5th-level low-grade spiritual potion. Like the spirit-inducing potion, it is a special spiritual potion, 7th level. After taking the Imperial Spiritual Master, including spiritual masters below the Imperial Spiritual Master level, they can change the spiritual master's own attributes into the attributes of the spiritual potion. The higher the level of the spiritual master, the shorter the time for attribute changes, like Renault. As a 7th level low-level Imperial Spiritual Master, this spirit-changing potion can only change time for about 2 hours, but 2 hours is enough for Renault to get rid of Nixon. However, this spirit-changing potion has a drawback. The changed attributes of the Spiritual Master are just a superficial phenomenon. In fact, the Spiritual Master itself still has the original attributes. If he fights with someone, he will be easily seen through. However, except for the fact that Renault swung a sword at the beginning, the whole process was to take Jia. The blast potion that Sin gave him left Nixon far behind. Under the shroud of fiery red spiritual light and the cover of his robe, Nixon didn't even see clearly that Reno had broken his arm. Tonight in the City of Chaos is destined to be a sleepless night. Everyone was awakened by the shocking roar. After many people got up, they saw 2 streams of light, one red and one green, chasing each other in the sky. At this point, powerful spiritual pressure came overwhelmingly, making some low-level spiritual masters below almost unable to breathe. The 7th level Imperial Spiritual Master, the ultimate power of the Chaos Territory, only has a few of them in the entire Chaos Territory. Only the top families have Imperial Spiritual Masters in charge. These legendary figures usually stay in the family to practice hard and rarely come out to show their faces. However, this night, everyone saw a good show, and from both sides amidst the roar of people, the people below also knew that the cyan figure behind seemed to be Nixon, the second elder of the Perret family. However, the red figure in front of them was not clear to everyone. Countless people were inquiring about Perret. What happened to the Lay family last night? However, the news that came out the next day shocked everyone in the City of Chaos. 2 7th level Fire Element Emperor Spiritual Masters raided the Per family in the City of Chaos last night. In the mansion of the Puri family, Fuelenton, the 3rd elder among the 2 elders of the Per family stationed in the City of Chaos, mysteriously disappeared. The foreign son of the Per family, at the age of only 29, had already reached the level of a 4th level advanced elixir master. The genius elixir Christo died on the spot in the middle of the night. The 2nd elder of the Perret family, Nixon, returned without success. Not to mention leaving the other party behind, he didn't even see clearly whether the other party was a man or a woman. It is said that after the elder Nixon came back, he was angry. Having to cut his own yard in half with a sword was such a slap in the face. The person hit was the Perret family, one of the 3 major families in the territory of Chaos. The entire City of Chaos shocked the people who were waiting to see the excitement. After seeing the groups of grumpy Per family patrols on the street, everyone was panicking. They seemed to understand that the City of Chaos was about to be in chaos. However, what no one knew was that Jason, the instigator of the whole thing, was extremely excited and rushed into the makeshift laboratory in the Kang's family mansion. It seemed as if nothing happened yesterday, and he was crazy. Preparing elixir, it's this adventure group. The Fat Man guard nodded. Back then, the Desert Fox adventure group was destroyed because it entered the treasure deep in the Cloud Swamp. In the end, only the leader Rommel and several people escaped. So that's it. Could it be that all the treasures have been obtained by the Desert Fox adventure group? Get the treasures? The Fat Guard sneered. About this death maze, how many people in the entire Chaos territory have obtained it? Almost all the top forces know about it. It is said that it has existed for at least thousands of years. When the palace was first discovered, this treasure was called the Cloud and Mist Palace. The outermost circle was like a maze. It was extremely difficult to find the entrance. It is extremely dangerous. For countless years, few people have been able to actually find the entrance to the palace, and some have been so lucky that no one has ever come out alive after entering it, so it gradually became known as the Death Maze. However, it seems that the Desert Fox adventure group entered the palace, and the entire army was not destroyed. In the end, a few people escaped and obtained the Cloud Spirit Fruit in the palace. It is a pity that the Desert Fox adventure group returned not long after arriving in the City of Chaos. There was no trace. But I guess that the Desert Fox Adventure Group did not enter the depths of the palace. Although the Desert Fox Adventure Group had a great reputation in the territory of chaos, its leader Rommel, he is just a 6th-level senior spiritual master. For countless years, various major families have entered the maze of death to explore many 7th-level imperial spiritual masters. I have never heard of anyone entering the depths of the palace. In this desert, how could the Fox Adventure Group enter? The skinny guard of the death maze had a look of yearning on his face, and after a moment he said doubtfully, "But Brother Fat, what do you mean by these 8 years? I say you are stupid, but you are really stupid." The fat man had a look of hatred on his face, but there was a trace of superior pride in his eyes. The cloud swamp is shrouded in clouds and mist all year round, and the clouds in the depths even contain highly toxic substances. Even the 7th-level Emperor Spiritual Master had a narrow escape from death if he entered. However, the clouds and mist in this cloudy swamp will fade for a month in September every 8 years. As long as the 4th-level Heavenly Spirit Master enters, he will be fine. In a few days, it will be the 9th level. It's already been a month, and it's estimated that the top families in the territory of chaos will organize a new round of exploration, the Maze of Death. Jason's heart couldn't help but stirred. It turns out there is such a secret deep in the cloud swamp. What Gandalf said 8 years ago, that an adventure group obtained the cloud spirit fruit from the depths of the cloud swamp, is true. If this is the case, if the cloud spirit fruit cannot be found in this chaotic city, it is better to enter this death. Check out the maze. Jason made up his mind. At this time, the guard at the gate of the courtyard had already turned the topic to women. Jason and Renaud looked at each other and nodded slightly. In the dark night, 2 black figures, one on the left and one on the right, approached the 2 guards who were talking at the door. Caw, a soft sound sounded at the door of the courtyard. A small hand quickly wrapped around the neck of the thin guard. With a slight twist, the thin guard had suddenly entered the arms of death. What? The fat guard was shocked. Just as he was about to shout, a long sword that glowed coldly under the moonlight was already placed on his neck. The cold sword edge rested lightly on the fat man's neck. On an August day, the fat man felt as if he had suddenly fallen into an ice cave, with cold hair standing on end all over his body. Which courtyard is Christos? A cold voice sounded from behind the guard, like a call from the 9 hells. That's it, the fat man's eyes widened with fear, and he spoke slightly with great fear, for fear of offending the people behind him. This guard is a direct guard of the Perret family, and is loyal to the Perret family. If Jason and the others are looking for a direct young master of the Perret family, this guard will not tell Jason and the others even if they risk their lives, but this Christo is just a foreigner of the family. Disciple, the guard who cherished his life, said it directly. Is this it? Jason couldn't help but be stunned. He didn't expect such a coincidence. The first yard he looked for found Christo's head directly. It seemed that God was helping him today. Very good. The cold voice behind him sounded again, and the long sword in his hand shook slightly. The sharp blade had already cut a long gash in the guard's throat, and the hot blood suddenly flowed out of the guard like a fountain. Splashed out from the neck. The guard's eyes widened and he made a roaring sound. His eyes quickly dimmed and he lost consciousness. Renaud put away his sword, walked into the courtyard with Jason, and then quickly rushed towards the main room at the back of the courtyard. A faint fragrant smell suddenly entered the noses of Jason and Renaud. No, this is a spirit-inducing potion. Jason's expression changed, but a wave of spiritual power suddenly came from Renaud next to him. The spiritual potion is a 3rd-level spiritual potion. It does not have any lethality, but it can induce the flow of spiritual power in the body of the spiritual master. This kind of spiritual potion is generally used to prevent sneak attacks by the spiritual master who conceals his spiritual power. If there is no preparation in advance, even a 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master will be affected if he is caught off guard. As a 9th-level Elixir Master in Jason's previous life, he had a certain degree of resistance to most harmful elixirs. Even if he didn't pay attention for a moment, this elixir-inducing elixir would have no effect on him, but Renaud did it because he didn't pay attention for a moment. The spiritual power in the body fluctuated instantly. I didn't expect that there was a spirit-inducing potion floating outside the room of the members of the Perret family mansion. Jason was shocked, and looked at each other with Renaud, and their eyes communicated instantly. Renaud quickly took out a bottle of red elixir from his body, drank it in one gulp, and then his whole body soared into the sky like a rocket. Fiery red light burst out from his body, appearing in the dark night sky. Extremely dazzling. Who dares to spy on our Perret family? A loud roar suddenly burst out from the luxurious courtyard in the middle of the Perret family. At the same time, a cyan figure shot out of the courtyard like lightning. And out. Get out of here. In the sky, an old voice shouted from the mouth of the fiery red figure, resounding throughout the world. The long sword in his hand slashed, and a sword light, condensed by flames, instantly cut through the distance in the space, arriving in front of the cyan figure. Humph. The green figure snorted coldly. As he waved his hand, the flaming sword light burst out in an instant. However, in this short moment, the red figure had turned into a fiery red update, latest, fast WAP. 2, 58*00. Meteors flew towards the distant sky. Perret family, that's all. See you later. A rumbling voice came from the sky, unscrupulous and extremely public. Want to leave? The green light flowed around the green figure, and instantly turned into a blue wind, chasing the fiery red figure in the distance. What's going on? What happened? So huge, the sound immediately alarmed everyone in the Perret family. The lights in all the courtyards lit up one after another. Individual figures shot out from their respective courtyards, and there was a roar of people. But because the Perret family mansion had never encountered such a situation in decades, it suddenly became a mess. Christo, who was resting in the room, was awakened by the moment when Renaud's body was full of spiritual power. In fact, the spirit-inducing potion was not arranged by the Perret family for Christo's yard, but was prepared by Christo himself, and released outside the room. As one of the three major families in the territory of chaos, no one has dared to mess with the Perret family for many years. Some rules have long been abolished over the years, and the defense is extremely lax. Christo, who comes from the Dax family, used to be in Santa Fe City. When he was young, he was very vigilant. After coming to the Perret family, he still retained this good habit. This is the 7th level fire-type Imperial Spiritual Master? How did you come to my yard? The moment Christo walked out of the house, he happened to see two meteors, one red and one green, chasing towards the sky, and he couldn't help but be shocked. Boom! Before he could recover from the shock, a fiery red sword light suddenly shot out from the side, aiming at him fiercely. Christo's heart was extremely horrified, but his expression showed no panic. The 4th level advanced spiritual power that he had been prepared for in his body instantly spit out. The long sword in his hand flashed with light, and he fiercely faced the fiery red sword in front of him. Mango. From the spiritual power fluctuations coming from the opponent's giant sword, Christo could feel that the opponent's spiritual power level was not higher than his own, not to mention that it didn't matter even if it was higher than his own. As long as he could withstand the blow, he was shocked. There's no way this guy can escape the rest of the Perret family. Seeing Christo's resistance, Jason's lips curved into a sneer, a strange light flashed in his eyes, and a powerful soul wave instantly disappeared into Christo's mind. Under Christo's dull eyes, the giant sword in Jason's hand struck Christo hard, and at the same time, a fiery red light quickly sank into Christo's body. Boom! Christo's whole body exploded suddenly, burning with flames. However, he made no sound. When the fiery red light penetrated his body, all the internal organs in his body were instantly stirred up. It's going to be pulpy. Who is it? Feeling the huge spiritual power fluctuations coming from Christo's yard, several loud shouts were heard in the distance, and at the same time, several powerful figures quickly rushed towards Christo's yard at high speed. The strong spiritual power fluctuations emanating from these people showed that they were all powerful 6th-level spiritual masters. In their eyes, a black figure soared into the sky from Christo's yard. This scene horrified the 6th-level spiritual masters among them, and all of them stopped in their tracks instantly. Is there another 7th-level imperial spiritual master? The Bella family and the Curie family have joined forces to deal with our Perret family? The faces of several spiritual masters were horrified, with a trace of fear in their eyes. Dare to take half a step forward. Under the cover of the dark night and in fear, these spiritual masters did not notice that the black figure was flying, and there were occasional hidden flashes of lightning behind them. They were all shocked by their previous experience. The incomparable thoughts stunned him on the spot. Christo was killed. The guard's screams came from Christo's yard. The huge explosion above the Per family mansion, as well as the angry shouts of Renaud and the cyan figure, were heard far away in the chaotic city in the silent night. It doesn't matter if you just dare to run away. If you have the guts, you can fight with me, Nixon. In the sky, Nixon, the second elder of the Perret family, used all his strength, and the wind spiritual power in his body was operating to the extreme, and his speed had reached a peak. The highest level, but still unable to catch up with the fiery red figure in the distance. Haha, the majestic wind spiritual master can't catch up with me. He actually has the nerve to say that he wants to fight with me. Junior, I won't bully you. If you have the ability, catch up with me first. The old voice echoed in the sky and the earth. There was a rumbling sound, full of contempt and disdain. Nixon was so angry that he almost vomited blood. As the fastest spiritual master among the spiritual masters, the wind spiritual master could not catch up with the fire spiritual master. This really made Nixon extremely angry. It would be better if the other party was obviously stronger than himself, but in Nixon's perception, the spiritual power fluctuations emanating from the person in front were similar to his own. However, no matter how he chased him, the distance from the figure in front was getting farther and farther. Getting further and further as the two chased each other, among several luxurious mansions in the other direction near the trading center of the City of Chaos, several figures opened their eyes at the same time, with a hint of surprise in their eyes. Rising into the sky. This is Nixon? What's going on? An old man in a white robe looked at the two figures quickly passing by in the sky, and uttered a sound of surprise, with a face full of horror. The fire-type Emperor spiritual master in front of him is there again. Who is it? You can't even catch up with Nixon's speed? The other figures were floating in the sky above their family mansions, looking at the two chasing lights with a hint of horror on their faces, but they were only far away. Looking from a distance, he did not follow. In fact, these few people are just 7th-level low-level imperial spiritual masters like Nixon. In terms of strength, they have never fought in life and death, so it is difficult to say. However, in terms of speed, Nixon, who is a wind spiritual master, is definitely stronger than them. Even better, but the fiery red figure made them all feel a little wary in the Kang's family mansion, listening to the roaring sound coming from the distance. Tyson and Gandalf, the two of them, also looked up at the sky, extremely worried. What happened? The master was exposed. What should I do now? Tyson's heart was spinning anxiously, and Gandalf also had a trace of anxiety on his face. As one of the three major families in the territory of chaos, the Per family has ruled the territory of chaos for thousands of years. Its reputation has been deeply engraved in the hearts of everyone in the territory of chaos, enough to make Tyson and others change their expressions upon hearing it. At this moment, two figures, one red and one green, quickly flew over their heads. Seeing those two figures, Tyson and Gandalf, who were originally anxious, were stunned. They understood that the cyan figure behind him should be Nixon, the second elder of the Per family and a 7th-level low-level imperial spiritual master, but who was the fiery red figure in front of him? Although Renaud did not tell Tyson and the others about his level, Tyson and Gandalf both guessed that Renaud should be a 7th level low-level Imperial Spiritual Master, but Master Lei shouldn't be a famous gold master. A spiritual master? Why is it that a fire spiritual master is flying across the sky? Tyson's mind was in a state of confusion. At this moment, a figure suddenly jumped into the backyard from behind the mansion. Who? Because Renaud and Jason were discovered, Tyson and Gandalf, who thought they had been exposed, couldn't help changing their faces. They suddenly pulled out the weapons in their hands and drank softly. When they saw the visitor, both of them let out a long breath. The visitor was Jason, who had escaped safely from the Per family. Master, where is Master Lei? Master Jace, where is Senior Lei? When they were in Santa Fe City, because Tyson and the others misunderstood that Jason was the son of a big family in mainland China, and Renaud was his bodyguard, Jace after Sen and Reno discussed it, they introduced Reno to Tyson and the others when they rushed from Santa Fe City to the City of Chaos. When he told them, Renaud changed his name to Ray, and his identity was that of Jason's bodyguard brought out from his family. He? That's the one who flew over before. Okay, it's already so late, let's go back to bed, Jason said casually, but there was no worry at all on his face. This, Tyson and Gandalf were both dumbfounded. What's going on? Master Lei is being chased by Nixon, the second elder of the Pear family, but Master Jace is not worried at all. Don't worry, it's okay. Jason waved his hand and walked into the room. His father has practiced so hard in the past few months, coupled with the experience of fighting in the Northwest countries, his strength has improved a lot compared to the beginning. In addition, he has some magical potions that he personally prepared. Jason is worried about it. Renaud escaped from Nixon's pursuit, but he was not worried at all. Tyson and Gandalf looked at each other, smiled bitterly, and shook their heads helplessly. Although they were worried, they both returned to their rooms. After Jason returned to the room, he started practicing there with his legs crossed. I don't know how long it took, but a figure suddenly appeared in Jason's room. Father, are you okay? Feeling the other person's familiar breath, Jason opened his eyes suddenly, with a trace of concern on his face. Although Jason had great confidence in his father and showed no worries in front of Tyson and Gandalf, in fact, in the deepest part of Jason's heart, before seeing Renaud come back, there was still a deep feeling in his heart. Concerned and worried. Now, this big stone has finally been put down. Of course I'm fine, how are you? Renaud looked at Jason with concern. After his spiritual sense sensed that he was unharmed, he felt relieved. Then Christo is dead. Jason said. That's good. Only when facing Jason alone, Renaud would show that kind smile and said with a smile, I took that Nixon around in a big circle outside the City of Chaos. That guy probably didn't even see my figure clearly and was so angry, haha. Before going to the Per family, Jason had discussed it with Renaud, because Renaud's one-armed and golden spiritual power was too powerful. It's too eye-catching. If the opponent finds out and uses a computer to sort out the power of the Perret family, he only needs to conduct a citywide search, focusing on all the one-armed metal spiritual masters, and Renaud will have nothing to hide. Therefore, the bottle of spiritual potion that Renaud took after he was discovered was the fire-type spirit-changing potion that Jason had prepared before. The spirit-changing potion is only a 5th-level low-grade spiritual potion. Like the spirit-inducing potion, it is a special spiritual potion. After being taken by a 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master, including spiritual masters below the Imperial Spiritual Master level, the spiritual master's own attributes can be changed into a spiritual potion. The properties of the potion. The higher the level of the spiritual master, the shorter the time for attribute changes. For a 7th-level low-level Imperial Spiritual Master like Renaud, this spiritual transformation potion can only change the time for about 2 hours, but 2 hours is enough for Renaud to get rid of Nixon. Say, that's enough. However, this spirit-changing potion has a drawback. The spiritual master's attributes it changes are only superficial phenomena. In fact, the spiritual master himself still has the original attributes. If he fights with others, he will be easily seen through. It's just that except for Renault swinging a sword at the beginning, the whole process was to take the wind potion that Jason gave him, leaving Nixon far behind. Under the shroud of fiery red spiritual power and the cover of his robe, Nixon they didn't even see clearly that Renault had broken his arm. Tonight in the City of Chaos was destined to be a sleepless night. Everyone was awakened by the shocking roar. After many people got up, they saw each other chasing each other in the sky. Two streams of light, one red and one green, passed by. Wherever he went, powerful spiritual pressure came overwhelmingly, making some low-level spiritual masters below almost unable to breathe. The 7th level Imperial Spiritual Master is the ultimate power of the territory of chaos. In the entire territory of chaos, only the top families have Imperial Spiritual Masters. These legendary figures usually stay in their families and practice hard. Rarely come out, but that night, everyone saw a good show. And from the roars of the two people, the people below also knew that the cyan figure behind seemed to be Nixon, the second elder of the Perret family, but the red figure in front of them was not clear to everyone. Countless people were inquiring about what happened to the Perret family last night, but the news that came out the next day shocked the entire City of Chaos. Two 7th level fire element Imperial Spiritual Masters raided the Per family's mansion in the City of Chaos last night. Fuelenton, the third elder among the two elders of the Per family stationed in the City of Chaos, mysteriously disappeared. A foreign child of the Per family, the genius Elixir Christo, who had reached the 4th level of Advanced Elixir Master at the age of only 29, died on the spot. In the middle of the night, Nixon, the second elder of the Perret family, returned without success. Not to mention leaving him behind, he didn't even see clearly whether he was a boy or a girl. It is said that when Elder Nixon returned, he was so angry that he cut his yard in half with a sword. Such a slap in the face was caused by the Per family, one of the 3 major families in the territory of chaos, and the entire City of Chaos was shocked. The people who were originally waiting to watch the excitement became panic-stricken after seeing the groups of grumpy Perret family patrols on the street. They seemed to understand that the City of Chaos was about to be in chaos. However, what no one knew was that Jason, the instigator of the whole thing, was extremely excited and rushed into the makeshift laboratory in the king's family mansion. As if nothing happened yesterday, he was frantically preparing the elixir. "Oh my God, Master Jace, is he still human?" Gandalf's eyes widened and he was blank. "Master, he shouldn't have had any rest for 2 days and 2 nights, right?" Tyson said with a trembling tone. "It should be 3 days and 2 nights by night." Gandalf said speechlessly, he was in a state of confusion. "How many bottles of elixir have Master completed?" Tyson asked next. "I don't know." Gandalf felt that his head had completely stopped thinking. He looked at some elixirs randomly placed on Jason's table. There should be more than 10 bottles. The entrance to the makeshift laboratory built by the Khan's family, Gandalf and Tyson, stood there like 2 stone sculptures, their expressions dull and full of shock. On the experimental table, a large amount of materials were scattered all over the table, which was extremely messy. There were also materials scattered throughout the room. Jason, on the other hand, was immersed in preparing the elixir on the experimental table. The two of them murmured quietly at the door, for fear of disturbing Jason's preparation in the laboratory, for fear of waking Jason up from his current state. Gandalf and Tyson still remembered that in the morning 2 days ago, the experimental table in front of Jason was filled with expensive and rare materials obtained in exchange for 7 bottles of heavenly spirit potions, and on the material table next to it, and it was even filled with some ordinary materials purchased from the trading center. Those materials were all neatly placed together according to category and function. However, now, the hill-like materials on the material table have long since disappeared, leaving only the bottles of various elixirs emitting all kinds of magnificent light placed haphazardly on the experimental table. When Jason said 2 days ago that he was going to start preparing the elixir and asked Tyson and the others not to disturb them, Tyson, Gandalf and the others didn't pay much attention. However, what happened next surprised them both. All are going numb. Jason's preparation of the elixir can only be described as crazy. Jason invested in the preparation and exploded with astonishing energy. His preparation never stopped. From the morning 2 days ago to now, it has been close enough. 3 days and 2 nights passed, but Jason didn't rest for a moment, and he didn't even take a bite of food. This madness shocked everyone and prepared it for nearly 60 hours without any rest in between. Such a statistic is enough to shock any elixir master to the point where his eyes roll down. Preparing elixirs is an extremely physically demanding task. It not only consumes the elixir master's brainpower, but is also a great test for the elixir master's physical strength. An elixir master can study how to prepare a bottle of elixir for a day, but he cannot continue to prepare it for a day. Studying preparation and preparation are two completely different concepts. Gandalf only remembered that he had been preparing elixirs for a day and a night. He only knew that when he finished the last bottle of elixirs, he was almost completely exhausted, and even more so in the following days. After resting in bed for a long time, I finally regained my composure. From then on, he told himself that no matter what the reason was, he would never do such crazy things again. However, the state that Jason showed now made Gandalf feel that he was as arrogant as a little girl back then. Compared with Jason's 3 days and 2 nights, his 1 day and 1 night's preparation now seemed so arrogant. Ridiculous. His face was dull. The two of them had been standing still at the door of the laboratory for too long. Just when the sun was about to set, Jason finally stopped. When he exhaled that breath, Jason, who had been highly focused, relaxed all over. Only then did he feel a sharp pain all over his body. His feet were weak, his body was dangling, and his clothes were already soaked with sweat. But his eyes had been showing intense joy for a long time. Jason had forgotten how long it had been since he had been so crazy. This was the first time since his rebirth that he had made such a crazy preparation. When he was in the Todd family, Jason also made preparations continuously for many days. However, at that time, the materials he had were all very ordinary materials, and the elixirs he prepared were also low-level basic elixirs. Moreover, he was not completely devoted. He ate and slept normally. However, this time, seeing Jason finally stop, Gandalf and Tyson, who had been waiting at the door all afternoon, hurried in. "Master, do you want to eat first?" Jason waved his hand to stop Tyson from speaking. After 3 days and 2 nights of preparation, even Jason's current body was a little overwhelmed. He felt a little dizzy, and his eyesight, the contents inside also began to become hazy, which was a sequelae of continuous high-intensity preparation. "I'm going to take a rest first. You guys can help me sort out the elixir I prepared. As for the remaining materials on the table, don't touch them yet until I can clean them up myself." Jason said a few words quickly, and the figure has disappeared into the laboratory. What he needs now is rest. Gandalf and Tyson looked at each other. Since Jason had given the order before, he started to sort out the successfully prepared elixir on the table with some excitement. 1 bottle, 2 bottles, 3 bottles, the final result was 21 bottles, nearly 60 hours, an average of 1 bottle every 3 hours. 21's eyes rested on the row of spiritual potions that he had sorted out. Feeling the faint fluctuations of spiritual power emanating from the spiritual potions, Gandalf was completely speechless. 21 bottles, this number is not particularly exaggerated in terms of quantity. Archimedes was able to prepare more than 300 bottles of powerful potions 10 hours a day, but what shocked Gandalf was that with his 5th level low-level with the spiritual knowledge of the elixir master, among the 20 bottles of elixir, not one of them had a thorough analysis of the elemental structure. Before trying it out, he couldn't understand the function of any of the 21 bottles of elixir, let alone understand it. This shows what? The level of each of these 21 bottles of spiritual medicine is higher than the 5th level low-grade spiritual medicine, and even higher than just one level. In Gandalf's heart, Jason has now completely become a monster, far beyond the scope of human beings. As for Jason, he no longer knows how to describe the shock in his heart. 21 bottles of the lowest 5th level middle grade elixir. The potion was successfully prepared within 60 hours. No elixir master would prepare a potion like this. Gandalf had never seen it before, and he had never even heard of it. What made Gandalf even more speechless was that he did not find any discarded elixir in the laboratory. This also meant that during the entire preparation process, every preparation by Jason was successful without a single mistake. Is this still a human? When he woke up, Jason felt refreshed. He slept for 2 days, and when he woke up, it was almost noon on the 3rd day, which showed how huge the physical and mental exertion of the day before yesterday was. The first thing Jason did after waking up was to go to the kitchen and ask the kitchen staff of the Kang's family mansion to arrange meals. Of course, these lower-level members of the Kang's family, who had been ordered by Patriarch Tyson long ago, did not dare to neglect Jason's instructions. They hurriedly served some dishes that were ready for lunch, and then made some hot dishes. After a moment of effort, Jason dug out all the dishes that were served first. The faces of the chefs in the kitchen changed color greatly when they saw it, so they had to use all their strength to serve the dishes as quickly as possible. An hour later, Jason left the kitchen under the dull eyes of all the kitchen staff. The cups and plates on the big table were in a mess. Jason had eaten out the normal portions for 10 people by himself. When Jason went to ask Tyson for the elixir he had prepared, Tyson was watching the intelligence collected by his men. A few days ago, Jason and Renaud attacked the Perret family mansion at night, causing panic in the entire territory of chaos. Although these days have passed, the entire territory of chaos has become much calmer than the previous few days, but there are still undercurrents surging in the city. What shocked Tyson the most was that Vincent, the patriarch of the Perret family, and Daimler, the Great Elder, came to the city of chaos from the Black Prison City, the headquarters of the Perret family. Moreover, the patriarchs and some elders of the Bella family and the Curie family, the other 2 major families in the territory of chaos, and even the other top families in the territory of chaos, all have powerful figures who have come to the city of chaos. For a time, the entire city of chaos was extremely lively, and everyone was talking about it. They were full of speculation about the fact that the actual rulers of the territory of chaos came together unexpectedly. Some people say that it is because the appearance of Tianqianling potion a few days ago has attracted the appearance of these powerful figures who had only been heard about before. Some people also say that an extremely powerful mysterious force has recently appeared in the territory of chaos. This force comes from the periphery of the city of chaos and wants to occupy the territory of chaos. The heads of these big families have come to discuss countermeasures. A few days ago, the 2 7th-level Imperial spiritual masters who appeared in the Puri family at night came from that force. Some people also say that artifacts left over from ancient times were found in the Cloud Swamp. The heads of these big families all came here for these treasures. This made Tyson extremely uneasy. Regardless of whether these rumors were true or false, Tianqianling potion and the attack on the Perret family these days was indeed the work of his 2 masters. If it was found out, Tyson could no longer imagine the consequences. If the strength of Master Lei, who was found out a few days ago, can still compete, but with the appearance of these family patriarchs and great elders, the balance of strength has been completely lost. Let's just talk about the Perret family. Not to mention that the 2nd Elder Nixon is a 7th-level low-level Imperial spiritual master. Patriarch Vincent of the Perret family is also a 7th-level low-level Imperial spiritual master. As for the eldest Elder Daimler, he is even more powerful. The leader of the Lei family, one of the 3 major myths of the entire territory of chaos, a 7th-level intermediate Imperial spiritual master, an invincible existence in the territory of chaos. When taking all 21 bottles of elixir from Gandalf, Jason himself was in a daze. He is the purest elixir medicine master. When he first set foot on the path of elixir medicine master in his previous life, he just wanted to become stronger. However, when he prepared the first bottle of elixir medicine in his life, he fell deeply in love with him. Got it all. From that moment on, he no longer prepared elixirs just for the sake of preparing them, but was able to derive great joy from them. The world is like this. Only when you truly love something will you reach the end on this path. However, some people who have a purpose often fail to succeed. Before his rebirth, as Jason, he had countless rare materials to prepare every day. He lived in an extremely happy atmosphere. However, after his rebirth, he was always suppressed. A soldier who loves firearms the most and can deal with countless advanced sniper rifles, submachine guns, and heavy machine guns every day comes to a world where he can only play with pistols. What will he do when he sees an AK-47? There is no doubt, of course, to go up, pick up the AK-47, and then shoot those few shuttles with great pleasure until all the bullets in the magazine are used up. The rare materials exchanged for the Tianling potion are like stimulants, constantly stimulating Jason's brain, causing him to be in a state of excitement. What is the greatest happiness in life? Other people's Jason didn't know, but his own, he believed that nothing would make him happier than being able to use some rare materials to prepare elixirs without any scruples. When he got those materials, countless ideas, countless formulas, and countless structures, like a volcano that had been accumulated for a long time, erupted in an instant. This led to the scene 2 days ago. Bottles of elixir passed through Jason's hands, and with each bottle passing by, the smile on Jason's face became even bigger. In fact, in that crazy state, he didn't know exactly how many bottles of elixir he had prepared in total, and what kind of elixir each bottle contained. He only knows that as long as he sees a rare material, countless elixir formulas containing this material will flash in his mind, and then he will subconsciously choose one that he can now prepare, and the laboratory prepare the elixir with all the ingredients. It was in this state of excitement that Jason finally stopped after preparing all the rare materials that could be prepared on the experimental table. Not bad, not bad. After observing all the elixirs, Jason had a satisfied smile on his face. With these elixirs, he firmly believed that as long as the territory of chaos had the cloud spirit fruit, he would be able to redeem it. Among these elixirs, 6 bottles are 5th level middle grade and high grade elixirs, while the rest are all 6th order elixirs. The most powerful ones are 2 bottles of 6th order high grade elixirs. These 2 elixirs, the effects of each potion are not as abnormal as those of the original Zunling potion. No wonder Jason is so confident. But fortunately, none of these materials are too heaven-defying. Otherwise, with Jason's current strength, if he prepared a 7th level elixir in a crazy preparation, it would cause strange phenomena in the City of Chaos that would be completely exposed. When Jason decided to take these elixirs to the trading center at this time, Tyson couldn't help but be shocked. Nowadays, the entire City of Chaos is full of masters and strong men. Almost half of the 7th level Imperial Spirit Masters in the entire City of Chaos are gathered here. Once exposed, the consequences will be disastrous. However, Jason was still quite determined. He knew why these strong men came to the City of Chaos. Seeing this situation was exactly what he wanted. If anyone in the entire Chaos territory truly possesses the Cloud Mist Spirit Fruit, it is these big families. If we don't take action now, how long will it take? This year in the City of Chaos is undoubtedly a year that most people in the City of Chaos will never forget. Many earth-shaking things happened. Many residents of the City of Chaos asked their descendants when they were old. When I talk about this year, my tone is still full of excitement and trembling. Everything started with a bottle of elixir, called Tianling elixir, consigned by a mysterious consignor. The powerful effect of this elixir has focused the attention of the young people in the entire large family of the territory of chaos on the transactions in the City of Chaos. In the center, the consignment of 7 bottles of Tianling potion caused a huge sensation in the entire city of chaos. What happened next shocked the entire territory of chaos. One of the 3 major families in the territory of chaos, the Per family, which had ruled the territory of chaos for thousands of years, was actually killed by 2 mysterious 7th-level imperial spiritual masters in the middle of the night. In the night attack, after killing a foreign disciple of the Per family and Fuelenton, the 3rd elder of the 6th-level senior spiritual master, the 2 attackers left safely and unscathed. Next, powerful figures from the 8 major forces of the Chaos Clan, including 7th-level Imperial spiritual masters, all gathered in the City of Chaos. However, all this is just the prologue before the opening. The real beginning and climax of the matter will begin with the next consignment at the trading center. It was a bottle of elixir called Flying Potion. It was a 5th-level high-grade elixir. In the territory of chaos, elixir masters were extremely lacking compared to the outside world. 5th-level low-level elixir masters were extremely noble, like these 5th-level high-grade elixirs are basically rare to see every year, except that the Curie family, one of the 3 major families in the territory of chaos, which is a family of elixirs, will take out some for consignment every year. Every bottle of 5th-level elixir, consigned by the Curie family, will sell for a shockingly high price, making countless small families and people look up to them. However, this bottle of Flying Potion was not brought out by the Curie family. Its appearance immediately shook the entire City of Chaos. Its effect is extremely simple. After taking this bottle of Flying Potion, any 1st-level spiritual master or above can fly in the sky for several hours, and the flying speed is comparable to that of an ordinary 7th-level low-level imperial spiritual master. Flying is the dream of countless people from childhood to adulthood. However, in such a chaotic place like the territory of chaos, it does not just represent a dream, but represents destiny. It may be a person's, or it may be a family's. Whether you encounter a powerful spiritual beast or a powerful enemy, as long as you have such a bottle of Flying Potion, then the novel will come. You don't need to worry at all, except for the Emperor spiritual masters and spiritual beasts of the 7th level and above, and some except for the special flying spirit beast. You are basically immortal. As long as you are careful enough, nothing can kill you. While the effectiveness of the Flying Potion made countless people crazy, its redemption conditions poured a basin of ice water on everyone's hearts. Its trading rules were also extremely simple, just 1 cloud spirit fruit. This trading rule immediately caused countless people to curse. As one of the treasures of the territory of chaos, the cloud mist spirit fruit is better and worse than the Flying Potion. It is really hard to tell for a while. However, the direct consequence of it is that all the families in the entire chaos territory are looking for which force owns the cloud mist spirit fruit. The strange trading rules of the Flying Potion have also led some keen-minded people to associate its appearance with the previously appeared 4th-level Tianling potion. Just when everyone was yelling and looking for the cloud mist spirit fruit, a bottle of spiritual potion called Antidote Potion suddenly appeared in the trading center 2 days later. This is a bottle of low-grade 6th-grade elixir. When it appears, the entire City of Chaos explodes. Regardless of its efficacy, its low-grade 6th-grade potion is enough to drive countless people crazy. 6th-level low-grade elixirs can only be prepared by 6th-level low-level elixir masters and above. If there are still some 5th-level elixir masters in such a vast territory of chaos, then 6th-level elixir masters, there are only 2 elixir masters in the entire chaos territory. The effect of this detoxification potion is also very simple. As its name says, this detoxification potion can be immune to most toxins. As long as the toxins that cannot harm the 7th-level Imperial Spiritual Master can be detoxified by this detoxification potion. Although like the Flying Potion, the Antidote Potion is also a bottle of auxiliary potion, but its powerful performance makes countless people jealous. What's the scariest thing about Cloud Swamp? In addition to the ferocious and powerful spiritual beasts, there are all kinds of poisonous mist that are always floating. These poisonous mist are elusive. The deeper you go into the cloud swamp, the more terrifying the poison it carries is. This is why the cloud swamp is known as the continent. The main reason why it is one of the 7 dangerous places. The vast majority of adventurers in the territory of chaos can only search outside the cloud swamp, but some extremely rare materials often grow deep in the swamp. Therefore, many adventurers will take risks for profit. In the cloud swamp, the number of adventurers who die from poisonous fog every year is no less than those who die from the mouths of spiritual beasts. But what made everyone vomit blood in depression was that the trading rules for the detoxification potion were the same as the flying potion, except that they were exchanged for the cloud mist spirit fruit. For a time, the 3 words flying potion, antidote potion, and cloud spirit fruit became the 3 most common words in the mouths of all the residents of the territory of chaos, and some powerful families also began to secretly search for the cloud spirit fruit. Stand up. 2 days later, another bottle of elixir appeared in the trading center, causing an uproar throughout the chaos territory. The level of this bottle of spiritual potion once again made the eyes of all the people in the territory of chaos drop. The level 6 middle grade spiritual potion Yunling potion, yes, the level of this bottle of spiritual potion has exceeded the level of the entire chaos. The rank of the most powerful elixir master in the territory. Its effect is also extremely simple. It can restore the exhausted spiritual power of a 6th level spiritual master to its full value instantly. However, its trading rules were like a giant hammer, hitting the hearts of all the people in the territory of chaos with red eyes. It can only be exchanged for cloud mist spirit fruit. Cloud and mist spirit fruit, cloud and mist spirit fruit, or cloud and mist spirit fruit. The territory of chaos is going crazy. Never before has the cloud mist spirit fruit had such a huge impact on the territory of chaos, and the entire territory of chaos is going crazy about it. Generally speaking, no matter how magical and rare the cloud mist spirit fruit is, it is just a raw material after all. Although it is in the hands of a powerful elixir master, it can prepare extremely powerful elixirs, but after all, it requires people to prepare it. Just like the Tianling potion prepared by Jason, although the materials of dream glass stems are expensive before preparation, they are only worth millions of spirit coins. After preparation, under certain conditions, they can be exchanged for hundreds of millions of spirit coins. All this is entirely due to the effectiveness of the preparation. Although the raw materials of cloud mist spirit fruit and dream glass stem are different, even without preparation, it will be of great help to the spiritual master after taking it, but its value is at best the same as the first 5th level high-grade flying potion that appeared. Almost. However, high-level elixirs appeared one after another, just to exchange for a cloud spirit fruit, just like a person holding a nuclear bomb, but want to exchange enriched uranium with some countries. Only a fool would be unwilling to exchange. Everyone is inquiring about which family owns the cloud mist spirit fruit. It was even revealed that a middle-class family that controlled a city had obtained a cloud mist spirit fruit more than 10 years ago. In the evening, it was reported by several people around it that it had obtained a cloud mist spirit fruit more than 10 years ago. 2 forces joined forces to wipe out the clan, just to find the cloud spirit fruit. For a time, the entire chaos territory was in melee. Some large adventure groups and big families urgently dispatched elite manpower to the depths of the cloud swamp to search for the cloud spirit fruit. The Chaos City Trading Center was bustling with people in the afternoon. On the 3rd day after the Yunling potion appeared, the number of people who came to the trading center increased again. Looking around, they could only see a dark mass of heads. Everyone was talking to each other, and they were obviously very familiar with each other. Most of these people are children from some big families, and there are even some heads and elders from small families. They come to the trading center to inquire about news and see whether any spiritual potions have been exchanged and left. It has been 10 days since the last bottle of spiritual potion. During these 10 days, the 3 bottles of spiritual potion that appeared have not been exchanged for cloud spiritual fruits. The entire trading center was extremely lively, with shouts and shouts everywhere. However, as time passed, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the originally noisy crowd gradually calmed down, and everyone looked at it expectantly. Looking at the big screen of the trading center, based on the previous experience of 3 bottles of elixir appearing, everyone knew that every time a bottle of elixir appeared in the afternoon 2 days later, the next bottle of elixir would appear. According to the previous rules, every new bottle of elixir that appears will be of a higher level than the previous one. Many people doubt whether there is a 4th bottle of elixir. Of course, despite doubts, there are still countless people come to wait for fear of missing the first scene of this appearance. Is it almost time? Someone said. Yeah, why hasn't it appeared yet? It's already early 2 o'clock. The previous 3 bottles all appeared at 2 o'clock. I guess there is no 4th bottle. I think so. If the 4th bottle appears, if so, it should be a 6th grade high-grade spirit potion. A 6th grade high-grade potion. Hee, I have never heard of such a high-grade spiritual potion appearing in the territory of chaos. There was some restlessness in the crowd. Time passed by minute by minute. Alas, it seems there is no more. A richly dressed old man said regretfully. It's gone, it's a 6th level high-grade spiritual potion. I really dare to think about it. It should be impossible even if I think about it with my toes. A big man laughed at himself. The trading center hall began to become noisy, and some people had lost their patience. The 6th grade high-grade elixir was really too shocking and impossible. Deep down in their hearts, they were unwilling to believe that it would appear. Why are you so anxious? Just wait. Seeing that some people were about to leave, someone next to them tried to persuade them. Why are you waiting? I'm an idiot to believe that there will be a 4th bottle of this 6th grade high-grade product, a big man with a scar on his face said with resentment in his mouth. But before he could finish his words, wow! An overwhelming exclamation suddenly came from the entire trading center hall. It has appeared, it has appeared. The 4th bottle of elixir has appeared. Where? What elixir is it? The big man, who was about to leave, suddenly felt his heart skip a beat, turned his head suddenly, and set his sights on that's on the big screen. Huge subtitles began to appear on the big screen. Broken Imperial Medicine Potion appeared on the big screen one by one, and the big man murmured to the big screen. In fact, Jason and the others did not spend 500,000 to buy the bid king in the trading center, but the sensation caused by the 3 bottles of elixir had already caused a stir in the territory of chaos, so even though Jason and the others did not buy the bid king, once a new elixir appears, this trading center will be displayed on the big screen, and the display time will no longer be just 10 minutes, but half an hour. What's even more disgusting is that for ordinary Biawang, this trading center will display the name of the item, its function, and the consignor's trading rules and requirements at once, but this time for the king-breaking potion, the trading center will display it word by word. The appearance whetted everyone's appetite. Emperor-breaking potion? What kind of magical potion is this? What level is it? Hurry up and mark the level. I want to see the effect. What effect does this emperor-breaking potion have? Everyone below held their breath, looking eagerly at the big screen where the big characters appeared one by one. The words on the big screen completely aroused everyone's curiosity. Some of the bad-tempered ones couldn't help but started to curse. Grandma, what's the point? I'm getting anxious waiting for this. Even those scheming people couldn't hide the look of anticipation in their eyes. 6th level, upper level grade, spirit, medicine, agent. Wow, the words appeared one by one, and someone followed them and responded. When the word upper appeared, the whole hall burst into laughter. A shocking roar. It's really a 6th grade high-grade elixir. It's impossible, it's incredible. Updated in my memory, this is the first time that a 6th grade high-grade spiritual potion has been sold on consignment in the territory of chaos, right? Everyone was shocked and their curiosity was aroused to the extreme. They all wanted to know what these 6th-grade spiritual potions were. What is the effect of the top-grade emperor-breaking potion? Pahuang, how effective is this magical elixir? Someone murmured, with a look of disbelief on his face. Emperor-breaking potion, a 6th-level high-grade spiritual elixir, can increase the success rate of any 6th-level high-level spiritual master by 30% when trying to reach the realm of a 7th-level low-level imperial spiritual master. Its effects can be superimposed with other types of spiritual elixirs. The success rate of promotion can also be superimposed with that of the spiritual master himself. Seeing the efficacy of this emperor-breaking potion, everyone in the entire trading center went crazy. The big screen clearly showed the efficacy of this emperor-breaking potion, which can allow a 6th-level high-level spiritual master to advance to a 7th-level low-level emperor spiritual master. The success rate is only 30%, but tens of millions don't underestimate the 30% success rate. It is clearly written on it that the effects can be stacked. In other words, if a 6th-level spiritual master originally only had a 20% success rate against a 7th-level low-level emperor spiritual master, after taking this emperor-breaking potion, he would be able to achieve half the success rate of 50%. However, the original 50% success rate may not be possible. Yes, after taking this emperor-breaking potion, you will reach a terrifying 80% level. As long as nothing happens, you will be successful. Such an effect is incredible. The 7th-level Imperial Spirit Master is the most elite combat power in the Chaos territory. In the territory of Chaos, as long as a family has an Emperor Spiritual Master, it can become the top force. In addition to the 3 major families, there are 5 families in the entire territory of Chaos that have 7th-level low-level Emperor Spiritual Masters. These 5 families and the 3 major families, known as the 8 major forces in the territory of Chaos, control more than 2/3 of the territory and cities in the entire territory of Chaos. In addition to these 8 major forces, there are still more than 10 families with 6th-level high-level spiritual masters, who are the middle forces in the territory of Chaos. Don't look at the difference between the 6th-level high-level spiritual masters and the 7th-level low-level emperor spiritual masters, but all the more than 10 forces with 6th-level senior spiritual masters combined are only equivalent to one of the 8 major forces. This shows the importance of the 7th-level imperial spiritual master. And this emperor-breaking potion looks extremely noble. If used properly, it can make a second-rate force directly become the top force in this chaotic territory. Naturally, the 8 major forces that already have imperial spiritual masters will not dislike having one more imperial spiritual master in their family. Any imperial spiritual master is extremely precious. If the previous flying potions, detoxification potions, and spirit-containing potions were only of great importance to some small families and medium-sized forces in the territory of Chaos, and were not enough to lure the top 8 major forces, then the emergence of the Emperor-breaking potion was enough to make pay. The top forces in the territory of Chaos, such as the Lei family, are all crazy about it. Everyone's eyes were red, and they were breathing heavily as their eyes fell on a line of red text below the explanation of the effects of the Poison Emperor potion. The rules of the transaction are that only the Cloud Spirit Fruit is exchanged. Damn, sure enough, that's bullshit. Many people yelled angrily, looking angry and frustrated. Look, there are special instructions below. At this moment, someone exclaimed again. Special note? What special note? Everyone in the entire hall was extremely confused. I had never heard of any special note on the 3 bottles of elixir before. Special note, this emperor-breaking potion is the last bottle of spiritual potion. It is consigned together with the previous flying potion, detoxification potion, and spiritual potion. Traders who own the Cloud and Mist Spirit Fruit can exchange for one of them at will. Once there is a spiritual potion, if successful, the remaining 3 bottles of elixir will be exchanged. A line of small words appeared under the transaction rules, making everyone present stunned. What? What's going on? Why did a special note suddenly appear? Quickly, go and report the family leader. Let's go and look for it quickly. The cloud mist spiritual fruit, grandma's, if someone gets there first, it will be useless even if you find it. For a moment, people in the entire hall rushed out of the trading center. It was bustling with people and was full of trades. The center, after a moment, was empty, and everyone was extremely anxious. They wanted to report this special news to their family master as quickly as possible. All of this was premeditated by Jason. The elixirs were released from low to high levels. Flying potions like this could allow a medium-sized family to maintain their position in the territory of chaos, and were very attractive to some small families. If some small families possess the cloud mist spirit fruit, they will definitely not be able to resist the temptation of this flying potion and will immediately exchange it for it. The detoxification potion and the spirit-enhancing potion are very attractive to some first-class families. If any first-class family owns the cloud mist spirit fruit, they will definitely be willing to exchange it. If after these 3 spiritual potions are released, it is best to switch to the cloud mist spirit fruit, Jason will stop immediately. If not, he will release the last and most perverted emperor-breaking potion. If the above magical potions are only attractive to some middle-class families and first-class families, this emperor-breaking potion can definitely make the entire chaos territory, including the 8 major forces, extremely crazy. A 7th-level low-level imperial spiritual master, he is the #1 master among the 5 great powers in the northwest like the Kingdom of Orlando. In the territory of chaos, he is the backbone of a top family. His temptation is enough to overwhelm everything. The cloud mist spirit fruit is precious, but can it make a first-class family become a top force at once? Comparing the two, there is a huge difference. In order to prevent some families from owning the cloud mist spirit fruit but holding it in their hands and unwilling to take it out, the special note at the end was Jason's method to effectively allow those families who owned the cloud mist spirit fruit to take out the cloud mist spirit fruit. You have the cloud spirit fruit, but you don't want to take it out. Well, great, it doesn't matter. Do you want to redeem it after others have redeemed it? Sorry, no more. For Jason, only 1 cloud mist spirit fruit is enough for his father's broken arm. More would be useless. In the city of chaos, in a luxurious courtyard in the center of the Curie family mansion, an old man with a gray beard is sitting in his study. On the desk in front of the old man, there is a white jade box with purple lines. The fruit is about the size of a fist and is all green. It exudes a hazy green light and is quietly placed in the middle of the white jade box. It is full of rich vitality. The old man just smelling the scent emanating from the green fruit, I couldn't help but feel refreshed. If Jason sees it, he will know that this emerald green fruit is the cloud spirit fruit that he has always wanted to get. Flying potion, detoxification potion, and spirit-containing potion. The old man shook his head slightly. It's good, but it can't be compared with my cloud spirit fruit. With my strength, plus this cloud spirit fruit, I can prepare a better medicine. This is a more powerful elixir. But who took out these elixirs for consignment? When did such a well-established force appear in the territory of chaos? The old man frowned. He was the 3rd major leader in the territory of chaos. Pierre, the patriarch of one of the Curie families. The emergence of such a powerful elixir master is undoubtedly a huge threat to the Curie family, which is a family of elixirs. Chief Pierre, at this moment, an anxious shout suddenly came from outside the door, which instantly disrupted the old man's thoughts. He frowned, quickly closed the white jade box, put it away, and coldly snorted, "Come in." A servant rushed in from the outside, with sweat on his forehead and an anxious look on his face. Panting and opening his mouth, he was speechless for a moment. Pierre was already quite angry when his thoughts were interrupted by the servant. Now he found a way to vent his thoughts. He snorted coldly, "Look at you, how panicked you are. Why are you so anxious? You have to stay calm when encountering anything. Do you understand?" It's really embarrassing to our Curie family. Tell me, what's the matter? Chief Pierre, yes, it's like this. The transaction center has appeared again, a new bottle of elixir. Yes, when the servant saw Pierre being furious, he was frightened to death and couldn't stammer what he wanted to say. Okay, you can rest for a while, Pierre frowned and waved his hand, feeling quite annoyed. After a while, the servant finally regained his composure and said quickly, Sir, the Patriarch, a new bottle of elixir appeared in the trading center. The servant quickly cleared up the affairs of the trading center. It was said. What? The Emperor Breaking Potion? Can it increase the success rate of a 6th level senior spiritual master by 30% to advance to a 7th level low-level Emperor spiritual master? After hearing the news, Pierre, who had previously criticized his servant to be calm, suddenly became furious. He stood up, his face suddenly changed color, and a powerful aura was instantly revealed from his body. The servants below were horrified and lowered their heads, not daring to look at him. Emperor Breaking Potion, there is such a magical potion. Pierre's face changed gloomily, and he didn't know what he was thinking. After a moment, he suddenly came out of his thoughts, came to the desk, took out a few pieces of paper, and started writing quickly on them. Soon, several letters appeared in his hands. Send someone to immediately deliver these letters to the Perret family, the Bella family, the Bayuan family, and the heads of the 7 major families. Go and return as soon as possible. Do you understand? Pierre stuffed a few letters into it. The hands of the servant in front of him were full of solemnity. Yes, Patriarch. The servant hurriedly retreated. After a while, the 7 guards of the Curie family left the Curie family's mansion with these 7 letters. In the Perret family mansion, the Patriarch Vincent looked at the letter in his hand, with a smile on his face. Pierre, this old guy, must be here for the Emperor Breaking Potion. Why don't you go and take a look? When will we be in chaos? Such a terrorist force actually appeared in the territory? As he was reading and speaking, Vincent flashed into the air and flew towards the Curie family's mansion. The Bella family, Bayuan family, and other patriarchs also received the letter sent by Pierre. Suddenly, figures flew into the sky and rushed towards the Curie family's mansion. In front of the hall in the courtyard where Pierre was, 7 old men were chatting with each other. Each of these people is extremely powerful. It can be seen from the aura on their bodies that these people are powerful 7th level Emperor Spirit Masters. Another ray of light shot into the Curie family's mansion from high altitude. Clan Chief Clara is here. Someone among them said. The visitor was an old woman with gray hair. Her trembling body looked frail in the wind, but no one looked down upon her. Clara, the patriarch of the Bella family, one of the 3 major families in the territory of chaos, is also the only female patriarch among the 8 major forces in the territory of chaos. Clara, you're finally here, we old guys are just waiting for you. Patriarch Vincent of the Per family said. Pierre, why did you, old guy, call me here? Clara glanced at everyone in the hall and said coldly. After Clara said this, the remaining 6 people also looked at Pierre in the hall. Guys, I think you must have heard about the bottles of elixir that have caused a sensation in the trading center these days. Pierre said straight to the point. Everyone was silent. The most sensational thing in the entire territory of chaos recently was these bottles of elixir. As the heads of the 8 major families in the territory of chaos, naturally no one knew about it. Everyone who knew that Pierre would not call them here for no reason was waiting for Pierre's next words. Just listen to Pierre continue. The purpose of these few people coming to this city of chaos is to enter the maze of death together in a few days, but before that, I suggest that the mysterious man who consigns the elixir must be investigated first. Isn't it just a few bottles of elixir? Is it necessary for everyone to go to such a big fight? The person who is least interested in elixirs is probably Pierre, the master of elixirs, right? Someone in the crowd said. This is a thin man with long silver hair, He is the head of the Reagan clan of the Bihara family among the 8 major families. Isn't it just a few bottles of elixir? That's easy to say. Someone in the crowd snorted, other elixirs are fine, but this emperor-breaking elixir can definitely affect the foundation of our 8 major families. Chief Reagan, could it be that these elixirs are your family's fault? Emperor-breaking potion? What emperor-breaking potion? Reagan looked confused. He had not received any news about the emperor-breaking potion before, but he was called over by Pierre, but he didn't know. Someone immediately informed him about the emperor-breaking potion. What, there is such a thing? The 2 clan leaders in the hall who also didn't have time to get the news also said in horror, with a trace of solemnity on their faces. Check it out? How? Someone in the crowd said. It's not easy to check. This Chaos Territory Trading Center is jointly managed by several of our major families. As long as we reach an agreement, when the other party comes to pick up the items, we will naturally be able to find out the other party's identity. That will have to wait. The other party has to come and get the items. Besides, I don't know if anyone can get the Cloud Mist Spirit Fruit. Someone else said suspiciously. You don't have to worry about these guys. As the initiator, I happen to have a Cloud Spirit Fruit here. Pierre said. I don't agree. At this moment, Patriarch Clara suddenly spoke up. Everyone's eyes instantly fell on Clara. As the rulers of the territory of chaos, we set the rules of this trading center in the first place, and now we are asked to break this rule. If this rule is established when it is established and broken when it is broken, then what else is there? You have a good reputation. Clara had a sneer on her face. Although our territory of chaos is called the territory of chaos, forces from all over the place are fighting against each other and fighting incessantly, but these melees are all based on an unspoken rule. The rules were created by our top 8 families, and now they are about to be broken. Does that mean that all previous rules can be broken as long as there is a certain benefit? Previously, the Reagan clan leader of the Bayuan family spoke and immediately stood up. Some people retorted, but Clara did not dare to speak out when she said this. As one of the 3 major families in the Chaos Territory, the Bella family is extremely powerful. Among the major families present, only the Perret family and the Curie family, which are also 3 major families, are qualified to speak. What Patriarch Clara said is wrong. Pierre smiled lightly and said, it is precisely because this rule cannot be abolished at will, so I convened everyone for discussion, and this proposal is definitely for the sake of our entire the interests of the territory of chaos, not for the interests of our 8 major families, let alone the interests of my Curie family. We just want to find out the identity of the person. If the consignor is from our territory of chaos, then just fine, my Curie family will never do anything that damages the image of our 8 major families, but what if the consignor of this elixir is not a force from our chaos territory and has some sinister purpose to deliberately destroy us? The order and interests of the chaos territory, then we must not stand idly by. Pierre said with awe-inspiring justice, his expression extremely righteous. Patriarch Vincent of the Per family also said calmly, what Patriarch Pierre said is absolutely true. This sudden appearance of the elixir is too unusual. Its appearance can be said to be related to our entire territory of chaos. Interests, as the leaders of the territory of chaos, our 8 major families have the absolute right to know where this sudden force comes from. In a few days, you will all enter the maze of death together. If some external forces if he wants to have an attempt on our territory of chaos and mess up our territory of chaos, we naturally can't let him succeed. Vincent's eyes suddenly flashed with a fierce glare. The spiritual master attacked the Perret family at night, causing the Perret family to lose an elder and a foreign disciple. Such losses are actually nothing to such a behemoth as the Perret family, but this kind of thing is equivalent to a slap in the face, making the Per family directly become a laughingstock in the territory of chaos. This made the entire Perret family extremely angry. Yes, what Chief Pierre and Chief Vincent said is absolutely true. In the next few days, our major families will allocate elite personnel to the death maze. If someone takes advantage of it, it will be very serious. It's not good. Yes, I also think it is necessary to find out. If the other party is a local force in our chaos territory, maybe our 8 major families will have another companion and become the 9 major families. With Pierre Eyre and Vincent took the lead, and other family patriarchs also echoed. They also wanted to know who the connoisseurs of these magical potions suddenly appeared mysteriously. That's right, even the Pear family was attacked by someone a few days ago, and we don't know which family those 2 imperial spiritual masters are from. If someone takes advantage of our absence and a few more imperial spiritual masters appear, I am afraid. Calvin, the patriarch of the Coolidge family, wanted to echo Patriarch Vincent, but before he could finish his words, he saw Vincent's eyes and looked over instantly, with a hint of chill in his eyes. Calvin's heart trembled, and he immediately swallowed the rest of his words. This matter was a shame to the Perret family. Everyone present knew it and deliberately avoided it. Unexpectedly, the Calvin patriarch was so ignorant that he actually talked about it, which naturally made Vincent extremely angry. Seeing that these family patriarchs all responded in agreement, Clara also felt a trace of hesitation in her heart. Pierre looked at Clara. Chief Clara, what do you think? After a moment, Pierre said again, of course, if these magical potions are released by any of the families present, as long as if you say it here, we will all disperse immediately, and we will never ask any more questions. All the family patriarchs present looked at each other. This possibility is even the highest. Since everyone has said so, I have no objection, but if the identity of the other party is found out and someone wants to do something that violates the rules, our Bella family, in the name of the 3 major families, will never tolerate it. Clara said indifferently. What happened to the Perret family in the past 2 days has sounded the alarm to all the families in the territory of chaos. Okay, everyone, let's go now. Pierre smiled slightly. Immediately, the clan heads of the 8 major families present flew towards the trading center. The King's family mansion. Master Gandalf and Patriarch Tyson are both always paying attention to the spiritual power-sharing terminal in the trading center. The spiritual power-sharing terminal is an instrument developed by the trading center. Through this shared terminal, you can check orders and goods on the spot. The information on this is completely synchronized with the trading center. The previous transaction of Tianling potion in exchange for materials was using this is done by sharing the terminal. Generally, big families will have such a device, but its price is really not cheap and requires 1 million spirit coins. A mid-range family like the Kang's family will never spend 1 million spirit coins for such an instrument, but to Jason, this amount of money is nothing at all. Master, suddenly, Tyson shouted loudly. The shared terminal clearly showed that someone used a cloud mist spirit fruit in the trading center to trade the emperor breaking potion that had just been consigned. Click to complete the transaction. Jason came over after hearing the news, with a hint of excitement on his face at this moment. On the side, Renault's eyes, which were originally extremely cold and full of evil spirits, now also had an inexplicable brilliance. Seeing the words "transaction successful" appear on the shared terminal, Jason finally let out a long breath in his heart. He and his father had gone through thousands of mountains and rivers just for this cloud mist spirit fruit, and now they finally redeemed it. A big stone in Sen's heart finally fell. With this cloud spirit fruit, he was absolutely sure to grow his father's right arm back. As for the exchanged emperor breaking potion, although taking back the Todd family might allow Uncle Leo to advance to the 7th level Imperial Spirit Master, it is nothing compared to his father's resurrection from a broken arm. Master, I will go and get the cloud mist spirit fruit back for you, as well as the other bottles of spiritual potion. Tyson stood up and said. No, let's go together, Jason said indifferently, his face regaining its calmness. The fiery atmosphere in the Chaos City Trading Center continues. Many people who got the news rushed to the trading center one after another, wanting to take a look at the emperor breaking potion. If it was traded away, maybe in this life there will never be another chance like this. Hey, why is there no emperor-breaking potion on the trading center's virtual list? At this moment, a confused voice suddenly sounded in the trading center hall and reached everyone's ears. No more? It's impossible? Someone said, and many people started searching on their personal terminals. It's really gone. Mine too. No, did someone redeem it? The flying potion, antidote potion, and spirit-containing potion are also missing from the list. Someone exclaimed. Everyone checked one after another. The 4 bottles of elixir that had previously appeared on the personal terminal's consignment list had all disappeared at this moment. It was really exchanged, and everyone understood in their hearts. It seems that the emperor-breaking potion is very powerful. As soon as it came out, it was exchanged. I exchanged a cloud mist spirit fruit for a bottle of emperor-breaking potion. Grandma, it would be great if I had this. Someone said Joan de Hell. It's a pity. I don't know which family replaced it. This consignor is really true. Why did he withdraw the other 3 bottles of spiritual potion? If I found this cloud spirit fruit, it would be good to replace it with flying potion. Ah. Finally, the Yunwu spirit fruit appeared, and the news that the spiritual potion was exchanged quickly spread out from the trading center. A moment later, a group of 4 people passed the inspection of the guards at the entrance of the trading center and entered the trading center of the City of Chaos. These 4 people were the 4 Jasons who came to extract the cloud mist spirit fruit and the remaining 3 bottles of spiritual potion. Let's get the consignment items. In front of the service desk of the trading center, Jason threw several jade tablets with special spiritual power patterns over them. No, A607, S663, for K27 and JK92. The waiter used an instrument to test the jade plaque, and then said to Jason and others, "Please wait a moment." After a while, the waiter took 4 sandalwood. The box came over, placed it in front of Jason and the others, and then looked at Jason and the others with surprised eyes. Huh? Jason took the sandalwood box and frowned, feeling something was wrong in his heart. All items in this trading center are stored strictly, and the numbers are randomly scrambled. Generally, the front desk clerk will not know what items are stored in the sandalwood box represented by each number, but the look in the eyes of the previous waiter was like it was as if he had seen something extremely surprising. Humph. At this moment, Renaud, who had been standing there silently, suddenly snorted coldly, raised his head suddenly, and a gleam of light passed through his eyes, looking to the side of the service desk. A group of old men walked over slowly from there. Most of the old men in this group had wrinkled faces and looked very old, but everyone naturally exuded an inexplicable and powerful aura, which made people dare not watch intently. It's them. Gandalf's face suddenly changed color. There was also a hint of solemnity on Renaud's face. In his perception, the group of people in front of him were all 7th-level Imperial spiritual masters, and their spiritual power was in harmony with the heaven and earth. And Tyson's face turned extremely pale at this moment. As one of the forces in the territory of chaos, he had seen 2 of these people in front of him in the City of Chaos. They were the top few in the territory of chaos. The patriarchs of the 2 families in the big family, with just one word from either of them, can instantly wipe out the perverted existences of 10 Kongsi families. But at this moment, these 2 people were walking in the middle of this group of people, inconspicuous. Let's go. Jason said indifferently, turned and walked out of the trading hall. Guys, please stay. A majestic voice came from the mouth of an old man in the lead. Although the words contained the word please, they gave the impression of being full of orders. Jason and the others continued to move forward, ignoring the man's shouts. Ugh. A middle-aged man with a dark face and a pair of inverted triangular eyes suddenly appeared in front of Jason and the others, his tone full of domineering. Guys, didn't you hear that I asked you to stay? Reno suddenly raised his head, staring forward with his cold eyes filled with murderous aura. An extremely powerful murderous aura arose, filling every corner of the trading center. It was so heavy that it almost made some unprepared spiritual masters in the hall unable to breathe. Everyone looked at this place with extremely horrified expressions. The middle-aged man in front of him looked shocked, his pupils suddenly shrank, and his eyes stared at Renaud with horror. He placed his right hand on the long sword at his waist and couldn't help but take a step back. Then he seemed to realize his gaffe, and a look of irritation and embarrassment appeared on his face. The faces of Pierre and others who were walking slowly not far away also changed. The murderous aura released by the other party was extremely surging and cold to the bone. People who can release such murderous aura must also have ruthless personalities. Several of them, we have no ill intentions. Pierre and others hurried over quickly, fearing that the one-armed man would conflict with Linus. Oh my god, isn't this person Linus from the Carl family? He is a 7th-level low-level imperial spiritual master. Who is the one-armed man opposite? How dare he unleash murderous intent on the leader of the Linus family? Feel the excitement here. Strangely, everyone in the trading center looked over. Look at the group of people behind him. Someone in the crowd exclaimed, as if he had seen something extremely incredible, with a trembling tone in his voice. Isn't this the Vincent patriarch of the Perret family? A big man with a scar on. His face looked at the group of old men in horror, his eyes widened. Patriarch Vincent of the Perret family? Are you kidding me that he will come here? Hearing the big man's exclamation, a middle-aged man dressed as an adventurer on the side disdained to speak and followed the other person's gaze. But his expression froze instantly. The middle-aged man's face was full of horror and disbelief. It's actually Patriarch Vincent, and the man next to him is Patriarch Pierre of the Curie family. Oh my god, the Bella family. Patriarch Clara is actually inside. That should be Patriarch Reagan of the Bihara family. And Patriarch Calvin of the Coolidge family. There was a buzz of discussion in the entire hall, and everyone's eyes were instantly focused. The patriarchs of these 8 major families can be said to be the most powerful figures in the entire Chaos territory. They usually live in seclusion among their families and rarely appear in the public eye, but this time, they all came to the trading center at once. What is the situation? Could it be the elixir from before? Some people with bright minds have vaguely guessed something in their minds through what happened these days. When Renaud restrained his murderous intent, everyone in the trading center suddenly felt relieved. Many people even found that their legs were a little weak. At this time, they were even more horrified, and they understood how terrifying the pressure the one-armed man put on them just now was. Everyone, I don't think we know each other, right? Looking at the group of old men standing in front of him, Jason frowned and spoke indifferently. Pierre and others had previously set their sights on Renaud. When they heard Jason's voice on the side, they couldn't help being stunned. After seeing that Renaud and others didn't look dissatisfied at all, they all looked towards Jason, stood aside, still smiling, but in his heart he was extremely surprised. I didn't know him before, but I think I should know him now. Pierre smiled and took out a bottle of lavender elixir from his body. This bottle of emperor-breaking potion is from the hands of a few of you. I got it in exchange for the cloud mist spirit fruit. Let me introduce myself first, old Pierre, the patriarch of the Curie family in the territory of Chaos. Emperor-breaking potion? All the people looked at Jason and the others with widened eyes. I didn't expect to be traded by Patriarch Pierre. However, as Patriarch Pierre's identity, it is expected that the cloud mist spirit fruit will be available. Then these people in front of Patriarch Pierre are such broken people. Is he the mysterious consigner of the imperial potion? These are Patriarch Vincent of the Per family, Patriarch Clara of the Bella family. Pierre introduced them one by one in front of Jason. Wait a minute, Pierre just named a few people, but Jason stopped him. His brows furrowed, he glanced up at Pierre, and said indifferently, who are you related to us? Does it matter? Someone behind Pierre's face instantly fell. As the 8 major families of the Chaos territory, each of them has an extremely noble status. Unexpectedly, in front of a young man, they were completely defeated. And the eyes of some people who gradually gathered around were so horrified that they almost fell down. This young man must be too powerful. He actually dared to speak to Chief Pierre and the others like this. Didn't he know who was standing in front of him? Who? Those are the 8 major families of the territory of chaos, the most powerful beings in the entire territory of chaos. It can be said that they are the emperors of this territory of chaos, and the powerful emperors of this territory of chaos. Even Pierre's face became a little cold, and he said calmly, "Of course it has a lot to do with it. Some of them are very familiar. Why have I never seen them in my territory of chaos before? I wonder who they are." "Chief Pierre, this is Tyson, the patriarch of the Khan's family." At this time, Tyson hurriedly came out and said, "The Kang's family?" Pierre and others had extremely confused expressions on their faces. The Kang's family, isn't that a small family in Santa Fe City, a medium-sized city outside the territory of chaos? Someone in the crowd asked in confusion. "Brother, your news is lagging behind. The Khan's family has wiped out the other 2 major families in Santa Fe City, the Neal family and the Dax family, a few days ago. Now it has completely controlled the entire Santa Fe City. The city is over." Someone who knew the situation said. "A small family that controls a medium-sized city?" Pierre and others had astonishment on their faces. From the aura released by Renault earlier, they knew that Renault was a 7th-level emperor they had never seen before. Spiritual master, but such a 7th-level imperial spiritual master is actually a member of a family that controls a medium-sized city. What is the situation? The thin black man who stopped Jason and others in front of the Kang's family snorted coldly. "I don't think these people around you look like the leaders of my chaos, right? Why didn't I, Linus, know in a small Khansi family had an imperial spiritual master?" A trace of anger immediately appeared on Tyson's face. "Senior, what do you mean by this? Could it be that the territory of chaos only allows your Carl family to have an imperial spiritual master, but does not allow my Kang's family to have an imperial spiritual master? Could it be that if other families in our chaos territory have imperial spiritual masters, they have to report it to you, Chief Linus, for your approval?" All the people present looked at Linus. Pierre and others frowned. Although they didn't know where Jason and the others came from, no matter what, the other party had such an identity, it is not something they can deal with casually. "Chief Pierre, now that we have figured out that the other party is a family from our chaos territory, this matter should be over, right?" Clan Chief Clara said in the crowd. This Clara, Pierre couldn't help but feel a little unhappy in his heart. "Guys, what on earth do you want to do by stopping us here?" Jason said coldly, "I heard that the trading center in the City of Chaos is extremely fair and is supervised and managed by all the families in the entire territory of chaos. But today, Chief Pierre, you will find whoever you want. From then on, what kind of treasure is placed in this trading center, and how safe is it?" Jason's face was full of sneers. There were also bursts of discussion among the crowd present. As ordinary people, the last thing they expected to encounter was a situation like what Jason said, which immediately resonated with them. "That's it." A smile appeared on Pierre's face again, and he said, "Guys, our Curie family is extremely interested in the formulas of the antidote and emperor-breaking potion in your hands. So, this bottle of broken I don't want your imperial elixir either. Your Excellency Yunwu Lingua still holds it. I wonder if you can trade the elixir formula in your hands to me?" Vincent and others immediately focused their attention on Pierre's face. On the way, he said angrily, "Chief Pierre, didn't you say that before? Guys, please be patient." Pierre cast his eyes on Vincent and the others. "Guys, please think about us. What we have to do in the next few days will be much easier if we get this antidote. Recipe trading?" Haha, Jason suddenly couldn't help laughing. "Everyone, tell me, this leader of the Pierre family, what's the difference between it and banditry?" You Patriarch Pierre's expression couldn't help but change. But, I do have this formula in my hand. Jason spoke again immediately, with a cunning light flashing in his eyes. It just depends on whether they can pay enough for it, and, I don't want to use a transaction, so how about this, Chief Pierre? I think you are also an elixir master. How about the two of us compete in the preparation of elixirs? Jason said with a face. Smile and speak astonishingly.